What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You are listening to Ninja Night. This is Real Talk 9. Thanks very much to everyone that's back here this evening. I know that it's a later time than usual. I know it's 8 p.m. People be in the chat now saying it's actually 5 past 8, Ninja. What are you talking about? That's what a couple of the people in the chat be saying already. Look, being transparent, obviously the last time I was streaming, I let you all know that the mouse wasn't working at that time. I'm hoping that this week goes well, but I'm making no promises here. And as I said, the computer had absolutely packed it in. So I'm in the process of getting a new one. So I'm able to stream this week, I am, but this is something that's going to be in flux now. I'm looking into something that's going to be good for videos and good for streaming. I think when it comes to old technology, you do have to update it as soon as possible. Obviously, that's the way they have you. But it's something that's long overdue, is what I'll say. So I'm on the case now. I'm keeping an eye out. I'm looking into what I can get. And a couple of people were saying to me about refurbished laptops, and I said that's not too bad of an idea. I said that sounds like a good idea, to be quite honest with you, because if they're like that there and then they're good, I'll be decent. But I do kind of in another way then was like, well, maybe do I want to buy something new? I'm like, I don't know if that's something I want to do. But funnily enough, then in the last kind of 24 to 48 hours, I saw what the group in iPhone were up to. Have you seen that? Have you seen that news? In France has released the new iPhone 12, and they have now promptly put out like a mass alert to say to people, get these things back as fast as possible to the stores that you bought them in, because we're afraid of the radiation that's emanating from these mobile phones. Now, I don't know about you, but when I see that and hear that, I'm saying to myself, there's a lot of weird things that are going on in the news right now. I mean, you've got Mexico. Mexico has had a very interesting week, because in the last 2 weeks, I should say, you've had them coming out and being like, yeah, no, like it's quite dry over here, so we're going to do a little bit of cloud seeding. We're going to fly planes up into the sky. We're going to affect the weather. Oh, I thought that was a conspiracy theory, though. I thought the fact that the White House said that they could do that. Oh, right. So this is what you have now. You have these countries, these governments telling you now things are up. And then you've got then this week's game. And a game it was, because we'll show you the article that was published. Well, I should say it was talking about what happened. But the worldwide press obviously got the heads up, and government stooges as well too, the same, to tell people, hey, guess what, guys? Push the alien narrative now big time. Push the men in black. Is that what's going on now? You're going to tell me now that Agent J and Agent K are real people? Is that what's going on? Is that what happened to Will Smith? That guy hasn't been the same. Well, people would say he wasn't the same since Wild Wild West, but I don't know about that. I think it might have been in and around that time. But anyway, so the Mexicans have now decided that they're going to bring forth these, what seems to be fossilized aliens. And so they're pushing that narrative. And I said, well, that's absolutely hilarious. I wonder how long it's going to take before it gets to here now, before someone here starts to push it. Wouldn't you know it, in the last 48 hours, Virgin Media put something out. They said there's a meteorite after hitting a beach. And promptly then, they were actually proved wrong. That was two lads with a spade. Isn't that incredible, isn't it, that they fooled a news corporation, one of the biggest. Would you even say like the second biggest, or would you say the third biggest maybe news organization that's here in this country? They are on the TV anyway. They're on terrestrial, put it that way. You know what I mean? RTE are the bigger ones at the moment, and then they're about, I'd say half the viewership, I'd say, of RTE probably there. And now the viewership in RTE is very low now at this stage of the game. Things are going really bad. But what I'll also say to you is this. Whilst they're telling you, and here's the thing on what you got to realize, and we'll be talking about Jordan tonight's show, you got to realize that when the media are telling you something like the fact that RTE aren't getting money, and they're bringing people onto RTE that are actually actively criticizing them live, which was shooed away, and they tried to move on as quickly as possible. Obviously, the narrative is being constructed by the media that people aren't paying, so that it will go towards the way, as I've been saying before, and as it has been sort of, I would say, pushed forward by the media, probed out there. Look, we're talking about aliens, might as well say probed. I wanted to get that in there somewhere. We'll be talking about lefties as well too as we go along, okay? Because those are very strange people. Now, I do believe that aliens exist now. I think maybe Men in Black was probably a documentary. What do you think? Because when they show you the people that you're seeing in and around our streets now and leading our country, you're like, Not sure. Not sure. I don't know why you do what you're doing. I mean, there hasn't to be anything that is serious enough to be doing what you're doing. Oh, what happens? You've been given money. These people, and what I'm sort of reference to, anybody that's been here a long time knows what I'm talking about. But what I'm referencing to is there's no amount of money to do the stupid things that are being done by the government and the media here. There's no amount of money that buys that. I was watching a video recently of a guy called Dan Bilzerian, and some of you would be familiar with who he is. He's a guy that earned an awful lot of money, he did particularly through gambling, I think through card playing, if I'm not mistaken, and was over the last decade a famous sort of playboy. You know, he was basically a real life Tony Stark as such. Elon Musk, I suppose, is vying for that title too because he is a very intelligent man, obviously. But Dan Bilzerian was flying all over the world, different women, the whole lot, cars and everything. And he was talking about how money, it brings you happiness. Sure, it's good to live with money. He's like, but it's incremental. So as he was saying was, he said when he made 100,000, he says I was delighted. I was out to buy this, that, and the other. And he says then I started making millions. And he's like, I buy a Ferrari, I drive it around for 24 hours, and then I'm unhappy again. I need to do something else. So like he was even saying that, and I suppose relating to the likes of governments and media and stuff like that, he was saying there's only so much you can do, and money does grant you access to certain things until you need something else, until you need endorphins from somewhere else. And I mean, look, we're all humans, retrospectively. I think, there's a very big question mark to be made around some certain people around the globe. But when you see that, and you see people of his status saying that to you, the last couple of years, then makes sense. You see it then because then you're like, well, no amount of money is giving you your jollies anymore, and this is what they're doing. We're able to do this to you, and you are doing nothing about it. Now, what you're starting to see, and as I did a video during the week, I did the multicultural Malahide, how people enjoy that. That's over 1,000 views now at the moment, so I appreciate that. Thanks for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Good for the algorithm and everything like that as well. But people are starting to really realize here in this country what's going on, and now people are taking it to the doors of neighbors, maybe neighborhoods, whatever it might be, and they're playing 4D chess. It's amazing to see what people are doing because it is quickly gathering steam around the country, particularly through social media. And people that are supposing, I would say, under the age of 40 are really tuned into what's going on. I'm not saying that people that are 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s aren't tuned into what's going on. Listen, I see my analytics and see the ages of people that are documented in there. And now, when I say that, obviously, there's some sort of way that it's calculated by YouTube. I don't know how they do that. I actually think that's quite strange, to be quite honest. When you see that, it's like, 50% of your audience are between the ages of 30 and 40. And I'm looking going, how do you know that? Google. Now, I know that. I know it's Google. I know. But it's great to see people starting to move these things around now into the physical realm where, as I said beforehand, and again, I'm not giving anybody any advice. I'm not saying anybody should be doing anything or anything like that, but I'm just saying it's interesting to see people posting leaflets out. And it's interesting then to see a minister try to respond to her on Twitter, which I thought was actually hilarious, I thought it was really funny that obviously Twitter means a big deal to these people, that he felt like he had to put the tweet out there and let people know, hey, this isn't me putting this stuff around here. Is any of that stuff that's been said in the leaflet lies, though? Is it? You didn't disagree with anything there when it came to that. And it's funny then, like the likes of Chopper there as well, too, who does be in the chat and obviously on Twitter as well, too, who does a great job. Just putting out the articles underneath it going, there's the government is expecting 170,000 plus to the additional people that have already come here over the last number of years. No, there's not 200,000 coming in. Beg to disagree. So anyway, you've got an awful lot going on, and there's a turning of the wheel now, and a turning of the screw, I should say. I think it's more of a more appropriate phrase. But what I feel right now, and I feel it, and I think people out there feel it too, the woke movement is dying. It's finished. It's on its last legs. And I'll tell you how I know. The reason why I know is for various couple of, what will I even say? Various reasons that you could say there's a reason as to why it is going the way it is. The entertainment industry is on a halt right now. They're cancelling projects left, right, and centre. And I know people that say, well, you're talking about politics, you're talking about entertainment. They're intrinsically linked. Look at who are the major shareholders and stock owners in the likes of Disney, in Warner Brothers, in Apple. You've got two big companies there. There's a place in Dublin called Blackrock. You know the place there, yeah? That's one of them there. And then you've got Bobby Valla there from Valaverse, who's releasing I would say, could you even say Jeep? Resvani car. It's called the Vanguard. It is there. So you know what I'm talking about there when it comes to these things. But anyway, You've got these two companies that own an awful lot of equity and they own an awful lot of stock in these various different companies. Now, the PVD podcast, the Patrick Bet David podcast, has been great because he talks about numbers, he talks about finances, he was in insurance himself, so he knows all who these companies are. And he's like, these are the people that are pressuring these other companies to do what they're doing. Now, what are you noticing right now? There's a massive slowdown on Hollywood. They've stopped it altogether. They're starting to cancel projects left, right, and center because they've stepped over the line too far. They're in the light right now. They want to just retreat back into the dark. But see, this is the difference between now and then. Maybe 30 years ago, they would have been able to do that and people would know who was behind it. Now people do. Now people know who's doing what. And they understand that there's a group over there in the likes of Switzerland that they're like, well, that's one group that's up to things over there, and they meet every year. They convene in secret to then talk about things. What did they talk about there? How come the access to that island is very remote? And I don't even know if it's an island. I think it's a place in Switzerland. I think it's probably inland, probably bordering on water, whatever like that is around it. I don't know. I have never been there, so I'm not sure. But it's very difficult to get to, and it has an awful lot of armed security. So why is that the case? These are the same people, by the way, that are telling you that you shouldn't be armed, but they're afraid of someone coming to a remote place. What's the story with that? They don't want you armed in your areas. This is the last thing that they want. You're seeing there, for example, you've got the Gardaí. Gardaí now have been in the news over the last couple of months. That's the Irish police for anyone that's out there listening that doesn't understand what Gardaí is or Garda or anything like that, just Irish police. They have to remind me to tell people that. You've got a lot of people out there now that are going, hang on here for a second. These people now that are knocking on doors have been going into mass and disrupting masses. They weren't too worried about the mosques or that being opened here in Ireland. They weren't worried about Croke Park opening up for people that are not native to this land. They weren't worried about that at all. They were worried about people going 5k outside their homes. They were more concerned with the likes, as I said there, the likes of mass. There are people as well too that wanted to prosecute people for not wearing face nappies. They wanted to prosecute people for being at 5k outside of their homes. The borders are wide open though during these times. Not only that, then you've got people that have actually destroyed their documents coming into this country now, and they're running free. Are they not supposed to be checking these people coming in? Like, what's the story there? So when you see what's happening with them now, and we'll talk about it here tonight, I think it's quite interesting to see the shift that's going on. But going back to what I was saying there, woke is on the way out because the entertainment industry is deciding to discard it. You're seeing the likes of champions there for UFC. Look at the recent fella that's a champion of UFC, Sean Strickland. Have a look into the things that he's said over the years. This fella is telling people as it is what he thinks. 5 years ago, I would even say 2 years ago, nobody would be uttering what he's uttering. It's over now. It's done. You're starting to see it. You're starting to see the comedy circuit start to come back around. I seen a brilliant video that was done the other day by 3 Books Left. If you don't know who this guy is, he's one of the guys that's the Hardy Books, from what I understand. If I remember correctly, maybe someone will correct me there. I'm open to correction on that. But there's a guy that's there. He has a long beard. You know him as well too. He's very... you know him too because he says, you know, and he's one of these guys that posts out videos. Very funny guy. And during the week, obviously, we'll say even last week when it was sweltering, he made a joke at the expense of people that like to think. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about there? Made the joke at these people's expense. And then there was a whole furor about the whole thing. Oh my God, can't believe he said that. Oh my God, it's Istafab. Hang on, these people are majority white, are they not? How can they be Istafab? Is that, hang on, you're classing yourself as your own race? Well, does that not mean then the Irish then are a race of their own? So then anybody that's saying anything negative about Irish people, is that Istafab? Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, he was talking about that and taking a mick out of it. And in fairness to him, there was a whole conflab on Twitter and people trying to do this, that, and the other. And he eventually just said, I'm not taking the video down. I'm leaving it up there. If you're offended, you're going to want to be offended. And if you're someone that wants to just cause offense, you're going to cause offense. And that's it. And I was just like, do you know what? 6 months ago to a year, that wouldn't have happened. The video would have been whipped down and that'd have been it. The profile probably would have been wiped. I know someone else, a pretty big group, I would say, that did the same. They posted out some home truths they did during the madness over the last couple of years, over the PSYOP. And then the Twitter account was non-existent now anymore. And they don't say too much now either way about that. Now, I don't know about you, but I was just like, well, it says it all there, doesn't it? But in fairness, the 3 Books Left, he left the stuff up. He's standing over it, and I love to see that. And that's how you know that the woke movement is dying. You can say what you like, and these people do like to say what they like. Oh, we turned up in Cork in our droves, we did. Fantastic. How many of you are there that have been paid by NGOs? You're not getting much support as well too in Cork. Is that what's going on the last 24, 48 hours as well too? Some bar is shutting down and people are like, well, you'd have been better off paying into the place rather than trying to virtue signal online. You know what I'm saying? Like, buy a few points. That's how you can celebrate, and that's how you can keep your places afloat. They can't keep them afloat anymore because nobody's any interest. The whole thing has worn off. I'm telling you now, I am looking forward to June 2024. It's the first June I've looked forward to in years because I'm like, this is going to be litty. It's actually going to be unbelievable next year because the intolerance, and when I say intolerance as well too, don't forget that the other side of these people as well are passionately disinterested and passionately detest you for your beliefs and your morals. The fact that you want to shield not only yourselves and live a good life, but to shield your children from this sort of stuff. These people detest that. So when the whole thing comes full circle and people go, do you know what? Back into the closet with you. That's your fault. That's the community's fault. And what I'm saying when I'm saying that is this. There's people out there that are good, decent people. That word is a word now that's been commandeered by the left. Decent, decency. These people haven't got an ounce of an idea what the word decent and decency means. I'm telling you, have a look at it. You'll see the likes of Joe there over in America going, do the decent thing. That's when he can read the teleprompter, by the way. He's not a decent guy. Like, this is a word that they've commandeered to try and character, Assassin's Creed. Someone else. That's what they do. Okay, and we've figured out these words over the years. We've seen these words. I mean, solidarity is another one. Check anyone out that's posting that sort of stuff. You're like, oh, and you're saying solidarity. That's a big red flag there, and it's a signal. And I'm sure it's something to do with signal boost, and I'm absolutely sure about that. But you've now got people aware of what's happening. And as I said, there are decent and genuinely decent people that are in that community now. You have to blame the whole team, though. This is what's happening. The whole team, because you decided to stand on the sidelines and say nothing and say things late in the game. This is why you are where you are right now, where people are going, tell you what, mate, don't want nothing to do with it. And in fact, and I will say this, in fact, I would say 99.9% of the people that have said, no, we shouldn't have any hand in our part in this, are decent individuals themselves that have been calling it for years. And now they're realizing that you're seeing the likes of the Green Party putting out weirdo tweets and Green Party members putting out weirdo tweets, like greedo tweets. You know what I'm talking about? They're putting out weird stuff. You have the likes of Roderick O'Gorman there that's saying all sorts of things. He says to Ben Scallon that there's transformer kids. He says that there's Doubtfire kids. What's he talking about? There's no such thing. No such thing. But guess what? It's a big financial industry for big companies that are out there that stand to gain from that. That's what that's all about. It's all about money and it's all about corruption. As I said to you before, you look at the Matrix movies you do and you look at them in a different way now. Obviously, when you see what happened to the Wachowskis, I'm like, what happened to them? What went on there? He's made 3 absolute masterpieces and then did the newest movie. It was terrible. I only seen the trailers. I only had to know from the trailers were there. I'm not even looking at that because I knew what the two fellas were up to beforehand. Doubtfire and they're up now they are. So I'm like, nah, not into that now. But what happened to those guys? Because they made a perfect movie in the beginning as well too, and it shows Agent Smith as well too, corrupting other people. This is exactly what you're seeing. Why do you think that there's a sharp uptick? People that say there's more people now that are of the rainbow pirate flag community than ever before. Has that got something to do with chemicals? Has it got something to do with the way you're being influenced? What's the story with that? Are you being pushed into this here? This whole thing and I'm waiting to see it now, by the way, they're starting to push it. People that are neurodivergent are actually people as well that are a part of this community. So they're giving it a two-pronged attack there. By the way, first of all, you can't criticize someone or you can't say something to them without losing their mind and having a meltdown. And then they're going to go over then and say, no, yeah, you're totally a they, them. And this person, this poor soul is standing there going, yeah, no problem. And they're going, yeah, I'll go with that. And I'm a day them. And then you get what happened during the week there in Educate Together in Dublin, where someone is going in there and they're referring to themselves as a day them. This is the teacher. Now, I don't know about you, but I've talked to a couple of people during the week, and I've said it to blokes and I've said it to women. And I would say most women have overwhelmingly said, this is absolute nonsense, this is. But when I say overwhelmingly said, I'd say about 80% said that's overwhelmingly nonsense. And this is what you get. And then you've got another 20% then that are saying, well, and I'm going, hang on here for a second though. Is that not supposed to be a place that's not supposed to push any sort of cult or any sort of religion. There's one true religion, you all know what it is. Is that not supposed to be that type of place? Oh, it is it? Well, then how come they're pushing something that's so radical and so out there, particularly upon impressionable minds? How is that permissible? How? How is it that Enoch Burke is in jail and that person over there isn't? How? I mean, what used to happen in the 1970s was these people used to be committed to places. Now they're running around there in prominent jobs. You have Netflix putting out things with people's pronouns. What pronouns are they, them? I'm not surprised because you look like Shrek and you need to have some sort of characteristic that's going to be interesting to somebody else. Sam Smith, I no longer feel like a man. Okay, well, maybe if you lost a few pounds, you may feel more like a man and maybe you wouldn't be doing things like you're doing. You know? Absolutely unbelievable. But Enoch Burke, back in jail again. Back in jail again. And we're going to talk about that here tonight because that's an interesting story as to what's going on. I'm just going to jump into the chat and say hello to the people in the chat. Dear chat, I know that you've been waiting on me to say hello. I do apologise, but I just felt like I had to get that out. Only B1014 says good evening. Good to see you here. Every time I see someone saying good evening, I keep thinking about Unai Emery. Good evening. So you got Eric Vivanis is in here. It says good evening. Good evening. Frank Barron says why ninja. End of the line, Giles says, will Enoch spend Xmas in prison? Hope not. This is another thing, and as I was talking about earlier on about the woke movements going down the tubes, we have so much going on here in this country. There's so much going on that everyone can't unify and go to one thing. In my opinion, Enoch Burke, what people should be doing is they should be protesting outside the prison themselves. And someone will say, well, that's ridiculous, that is. You're blocking up places. And I agree to a point there when it comes to that. But I would also say, well, who are the people responsible for his incarceration? You've got a school that decided to dismiss that man based on religious grounds when the school's actual ethos is that religion. But they decided to hoist the new multicolored pirate flag up instead. And they're just showing you what's going on. And then we have a ringer here now tonight that was absolutely spot on how people pull things out of woodwork. A big shout out to Ferg, by the way. Ferg will be here in the chat. But unbelievable stuff that he pulled out. I'm going to show you here tonight. And you've got what seems to be now a very sinister move going on right there. And that seems to be a move that's been headed by someone, maybe even a group of people now, that seems to be a direct move to try and disincentivize people from doing something the same, being dissenting voices. And you're seeing now there's more and more dissenting voices. There's more and more people that are supporting Enoch Burke. And there's less and less people supporting the media and less people supporting TDs. TDs are running scared right now, by the way. They're running terrified, and so is the media. Kieran Cudahy there. This is another fella that likes to spout out of mouth a hard shoulder. Yeah, right. Wouldn't be able to take one at all. And this fella's out there going, the Irish Farmers Association are leaning into right-wingism. What do you mean by that? Well, they think that there's too many people coming into the country and they think that this climate thing is affecting their livelihoods. It is, though. They're right. They're absolutely right. So this is what you're seeing now. You're starting to see people starting to get a little bit upset and they're going, now the seesaw is starting to shift to one side and people are going, no, hang on here for a sec. We can see the justice system. And this is the thing. And I know for an awful lot of people, you look at what's going on and you say to yourself, this is unbelievable how you see and perceive things now. Your education has been stuff that's been spieled to you for years now and nobody knows whether that's the truth at all. You've got your money is fake as well. Your news caught out rapid multiple times. Your politicians, career lawyers that face no repercussions for telling lies and face no repercussions then for getting involved and interested with other countries when they should be actually looking after their own. You see, this is what we've lost sight of altogether. You have a country here now headed by people that have zero interest in preserving this country. That is what they are supposed to do. Ultimately, when you boil it down, the people that are supposed to be leading this country, that are voted for by the people, for the people, are supposed to be preserving this country, keeping this country safe, keeping this country prosperous, and keeping this country to be something to go into the future. Are you currently seeing that right now? I certainly am not. But I look at the likes of Hungary and I look at the likes of Poland and I'm like, those guys seem to know what they're doing. There's no reason why Erdogan can't do that. So anyway, based Enoch, full support to Enoch Burke, by the way. I've said it plenty of times, but I'll say it again. Leon Curtis is in here, says good evening, Ninja Night and all. I hope that you're all well. Good to see you here. I hope you're well. Derek Man says, remember to like, share, and subscribe, please, folks. Support the channel and spread the word out across the social media platforms. Much appreciated. We've got 140 odd here tonight. It's great to see. Make sure you at Ninja Night, by the way, in the chat if you've got something to say, so they can scroll through it then later on. I much appreciate that. Derek Manson here says Ninja Night drinking game for Friday 15th September 2023. If a host mentions his outfit or says allegedly speculatively, take a drink, folks. Derek, you're a ball boy. Anyway, we'll keep going. Derek Man's letting the chat know what's going on. Loving it. I'm just scrolling down now because I'm about 25 minutes behind the chat, which is always great. People saying I was fashionably late to the stream. That'd be true if I was sitting in a suit, but I ain't. Bob says, happy Friday, Ninja Night and all. Good to see you here, man. CK Media Train says, happy Friday, everyone. Irish Vanguard says, see you all on Tuesday, Wednesday. Good to see people shouting out what's going on. Jerome Reedy saying the PC needs new updates. It's long past that now, dude. Dave says, Dave A010 says, good evening all. Dominator says, evening everyone, good to see you. Total Spud says, Ninja Night, welcome back. Good short vids earlier. Can't see anything on your Twitter. Just profile picture, basically. Desktop cheaper than laptop and way more already for money. Now, the Twitter's running the list. There's no worries there on Twitter. Dark Man says, Ninja Night, I'll send you down on Northern Ireland's laptop. Guaranteed me until Leo Radker. Morning Star says, need men to protect us tomorrow. What's happening tomorrow? Shout it out in the chat there, and I'll shout it out, of course. Fergus Powers in here. The brave, the courageous Ferg is in here. The based Ferg is in here. Says, Ninja Night, great to have you back, brother. Hello to all you beautiful patriots. Hope to see all of men tomorrow. Let women speak rally. And oh, that's what it is. And even more so next Wednesday, the doll. We need every Irish man and woman possible. Erin Gabra. Heads up at the times as well, too. Let us know as well, guys. B says, Ninja Night, really missed the weeks you can't do. Keep up this great work. Shout out to your outfit. Thanks very much. A lot of people had a big shout out there for the outfit on the last stream. There was a lot of people that were like, any chance of your outfit coming onto the stream and chat? And I'm like, I don't think he's really in. It's not something that interesting. It's not. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing here. I'm happy to be listening in. That's how he goes about it. Derek Mann's caught me already. Says, Ninja said, allegedly, especially take a drink, folks. You're playing the game. I can't believe I said that already, did I? I did. Thinking back on it now. So a couple of people are talking about what's going on in the chat. That's good to see. Okay, we'll jump into what's happening on Gab. I'll show you what's happening over here. Now, as I said to you before, guys, this is a platform that I absolutely love. There's no messing going on over here. It's not something like any other platform where you're like, oh, if I post that might be a bit risky. I will say this, though. I'm seeing an awful lot of inactivity on Facebook. Facebook seems to be finished now. A lot of people just not interested anymore. And a lot of people are making the move towards Instagram. We can see that now. Don't forget, Facebook and Instagram are intrinsically linked along with WhatsApp. So let's not forget that these three places are all linked here. But there seems to be more people going towards Instagram. And I'm seeing a lot more people that are of different ages, like 40s, 50s, 60s going over there. And it seems to be having a big effect, which is good to see. I'm just going to talk about it real quickly as well, too, because I wasn't able to post a video up here because it is decent amount of time in the video it is. But Philip Dwyer, big shout out to Philip Dwyer. He's keeping on doing fantastic work, because a report came out pretty quickly after Electric Picnic that said that they were going to shove a lot of people that are not from this country into tents down there. Now, before anyone goes, oh my God, you're talking about that again, this is the point. Why didn't they house anybody that's homeless in those tents that is from this country? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why are they shoving people in from somewhere else? The place is full. There's nowhere to stay. Go home. Don't grant any more entry. Because at the same time, they're starting to try and ramp up the whole sniffle stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at this, and as I do, I look at this as a big video game. And you're looking at the bosses that are, and when I say bosses, I mean the political class are nothing but scroungers, really. You're seeing these people that are up there saying, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to let all these people in. Do you think that this is going to go well if things kick off again? Like, if you decide to lock everyone down, do you think that these fellas that you're after bringing in here from God knows where are going to be happy to sit in their laurels and stay in their home and say, yes, guard, no guard? Do you think that they're going to do that? Because I would say, and I would suggest, again, I'm only a legend, I'm only speculating here, but do you think that these guys are going to just take that lion down? Did you not see what happens in Sri Lanka? Did you not see what happened in Afghanistan? Did you not see the way Africa looked at this sort of stuff? They were like, no, nothing to do with us. And you're important, these people. Like, I don't know if you're understanding how this could go. Maybe they do. But you see, what you've got now as well is multiculturalism failing as such. You're at an all time high of them trying to integrate people together, which, as I said before, are friends of mine that are from different countries. They know the score, they know what's up, and they're the first people that would say to me that they want the door closed as fast as possible. And I'd say to them, that's amazing. I've got friends of mine that are from places like Africa and places like I wouldn't even, I was going to say Middle East there, but you've got the Eastern Europe, quick swig there, Eastern Europe, and they're going, no, we want to close the place up here. And the same as well too from an awful lot of people that are from China. I know a couple of Asian people I do, and now we wouldn't call them friends or anything like that, but I know them and they're acquaintances, and they're the very same. They're like, no, we don't anymore. And you're looking at them going, like, what's the story with that? And they're like, no, too many of them, and if they're from this government or they're from this agency, it's going to cause havoc here. And I'm looking at that going, like, these people know way more about their own culture and their own people than I do, and they're like, close the door. It's amazing. It really is. You know, I know a couple of Nigerians as well, too, and they're the very same. They're like, doors should be shut. Can't believe the place is still open. Don't think this is going to be safe here for too much longer. And then you're seeing what's happening in the UK. The UK has recently, over the last week, had its own version of a BLM. And they had a woman there who was regularly stealing, allegedly, speculatively. She's on video, though. Should I even say that? She's on video stealing wigs. And this week she ran into trouble. She ran into an Arabic fella, and the Arabic fella, he did some, some questionable things. People would say, if you're not a policeman, of course, it's okay when you put on the uniform and the badge, of course, there. But if you're someone trying to guard your shop from thieving, no, that's very bad. Now you can't do that at all. But the British media and a lot of the people that were over there were like, this is actually white supremacy, and you're like, the fella that owns the shop and that runs the shop, they're all Arabs there. And the woman who's stealing is black. So how did white supremacy factor in here? But it's still a notion that they're trying to push. Now, in fairness to Akon, remember him? Sang Lonely, Smack That. I think they're the only two songs that he ever did. He's living on the royalties anyway. He's told everybody that's black to be like, hey, come on back to Africa. You can be billionaires in Africa. And that's an interesting thing, because I'm just like, well, now he's opening the door, and you've got the president of Ghana who said the same thing. I think what was it, maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. That's like, oh no, come back here. And these people are like, no, I'm going to be oppressed somewhere else. I don't think that's oppression there now, lads. I don't think that means what you think it means. You know, you've got the Three Musketeers quote. Who said that? I don't know. Princess Diaries, is it Princess Bride? Is that? Oh, I don't know what it is. Don't know what movie it's from. But anyway, that word doesn't mean what you think it means. So anyway, you've got these people now that are rolling into these places, causing mischief. And as I said, people that come from these places want to come and they want to experience Irish culture. And God, was it there the other day? You had people that were our students, I should say. Richard Boyd Barrett turned up as well too eventually, you know what I mean, to stand there and look huffy. Good for the photo ops there, Richard. Nice one. Stepson, let's not forget, of actor Jeremy Irons. Let's not forget that one. But there anyway, I saw a video, and it was an American fella trying to go in and see the Book of Kells. Hey guys, you won't let me in to see the Book of Kells? We paid. And you've got a fella standing on the door who's Spanish. He was like, we are not letting you in. That's probably a French accent. I don't know. I won't even go into it now. I won't even try the accents. But he's like, we're not letting you in. We need to stand here against the college, and we need to stand up for ourselves, and we're paying too much, and there's a rental crisis. And I was looking at this, and I was just like, right, we're at peak clown world here now in Ireland. We have a foreigner trying to get in to see the Book of Kells, because that's what he has specifically come to Ireland and the group that he's with to do. And the door is being guarded by another foreigner who's saying no. Peak Clown World Ireland 2023. Does that not say everything you need to know? That you've got people that are out there now, and I tweeted back at the dude that was running the Humberto Gonzalez or something like that is his name. I haven't got a clue what the dude's name is. It was one of those, David De Gea is a normal Spanish name. Sergio Ramos is a normal Spanish name. But when you get into these XPY things, I'm like, I have no idea what that's about. But anyway, you have this dude standing there, and I was tweeting at him, and I was just like, is there any chance that you were one of the crowd that said refugees welcome? Because, the definition of irony here now isn't lost on anybody else but me when it comes to these things. Because you don't seem to understand what you're doing. Maybe you do. And look, these guys, by the way, that are heading all these things, I'm sure were contacted, and they were let know, here, listen, this is a good thing for you to do if you keep this up and you keep doing that, Who knows what's going on? But I thought it was hilarious to see one foreign fella telling another foreign fella that he couldn't come into an Irish place in Ireland. Where else would you get it? Peak clown world. Anyway, as I said, 2023, pure and utter nonsense. So you've got Alex over here. He's over here in this platform, by the way, just as you know, if anybody isn't following this guy over here, you should be. This guy is well aware as to what's going on. Citizens are told you can't walk on the grass, but you can cross the border with, yourself there all day long. Jones shouted into his famous megaphone. Jones then said to his audience, so the border's wide open. You've got a certain stuff there that they said that's not dangerous at all, but it totally is, being shipped in, and they've got us pulled over, harassing us for our papers. But if you're illegal aliens, you can just fly or do whatever you want. Citizens are harassed for trying to say no new lockdowns. Now, you've got this happening in America. You have it happening in the UK. The UK there was injecting the likes of AI, I think it was, there over the last couple of weeks, ULEZ or something like that. Was that what it was called? UREZ or something? And it was basically tracking people. And so what they had was fellas that were going around that were masked up. They were called the Blade Runners. How appropriate a name, guys. And they were taking them down. They were like, oh, no, I'm not having this. In fairness, and there's one thing I'd say about the Brits is that they're actually united when it comes to these things, and they don't take any messing. They seem to take way less messing than we do, which is ironic when you look at our history. But they're not having that at all, and I think that's great. And they're at a pushing point here now as well. Like, I'm looking at the Harry Maguire, and I know this is a different type of topic here. I'm looking at the Harry Maguire situation, and I'm analysing it with a different mind frame than most people. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, right, they've abused Harry Maguire now for the best part of 2 years. International duty, he's been billed at Manchester United. And to be quite honest with you, here's where I stand on it. Manchester United gave him a contract. He decided to sit it out. He also knew, by the way, and I would say that the man is obviously not as stupid as some people like to make him out to be, because he sat there going, Martinez was injured last season. Lindelof is, we see what happens with him. Eric Boy's out the door. Varane is injury prone. He's made of glass. I'll definitely get me chance here. And he did. He did against Arsenal, and there's a very strong likelihood that he will again this season. So he's been proved right in the long run, because he's like, the club getting anybody else in? No, they're not. So I'm all right here. I'm gravy. So I didn't have any sort of feelings towards that. I'm like, well, he's getting paid. He is. There's a lot of bums that are at the club. And sure, he's there. And to be quite honest with you, he obviously has a hard neck to be staying there. After the captaincy was stripped off him, then he was told he'd be 4th or 5th choice centre-back. But something dawned on me the other day, and it does all of the time. And I remember the 3 fellas that missed the penalties there at the Euros. And what did they have in common? Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, and what's your man's Bukayo Saka, is it? I know it's definitely Saka anyway. What did the 3 of them have in common? Now, they had literally missed the penalties. And within minutes, and I'm talking about minutes, there were statements, there was pushback, there was all sorts of things done for these 3 fellas and said about these guys, character witness statements that they were only short of having those. They really were. And a whole campaign was driven towards don't blame them. Don't blame them. And I looked at it and I said to myself, do you know what? Now I'm looking at it, I'm looking at Harry Maguire, and I'm seeing the torrent of abuse that he's facing. And I say to myself, well, he's not the most amazing footballer in the world. I think we can all agree on that. But the fact that he's been targeted for the best part of about 2 years, I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, now, if he looked like Marcus Rashford, this wouldn't be happening. It just wouldn't. And it's just something that I just thought was interesting, because you're going to see it again here when it comes to the Irish football team. It is eventually going to happen here. You're going to have something very similar where an Irish player is going to be dogged by the media. And not too long ago, we did have an Irish player that was, when I say Irish player as well too, I use that term loosely as well too, because you know what I think about the L plastics and that. But we had a guy here that was saying, no, I wasn't interested in the Voldemort and that, and they haven't talked about him too much since then. Now, did he share similar attributes with Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, and Bukayo Saka? Is that the name? He did. Now, if he was a Seamus Coleman, I wonder what they'd be saying. So anyway, first of all, I'm going to jump into this now, and I'm going to give a bit of context now in a moment, because I have the tweet as well that was originally shared by this woman. So credit to Ferg for these images, because Ferg dug these up, he did. And I have to be quite honest with you now. What has happened in the last year or so is, and don't know whether I sort of predicted it, but I did say that people were going to become fairly more interested in what's going on, the connections between people, and how deep this all runs. Now, I said not too long ago that you had the Supreme Court were saying ridiculous things they were, and I said, well, have a look at Izzy Ult, is it that the name? Izzy Ult O'Malley, and have a look at her relative. So this is a woman that sits on the Supreme Court, and her relative is a fella that used to oversee the ministry, I should say, for justice, was responsible for banning boomsticks in this country. And isn't that funny? You've also then got Ryan Tubridy's, was it grandfather, great grandfather, and he's hanging around with, probably grandfather I would imagine, wouldn't it be? Hanging around with Dev. And I'm like, this stuff is going on a long time. It has to be. The wheels are in motion an awful long time. And then, they were commemorating Collins, and I was saying to myself, I wonder, was that an inside incident? Because you look at what happened with the Americans and you say, well, it wasn't too long after that they did what they did. You know what I mean? You're talking about the our president there. You know what I'm talking about there. And you're like, how long is this going on? I know you would suggest it's probably going on a very long time. But now you're starting to see it in our modern day where people have to say, hang on here, you're in the same room as that person, and you're starting to show the same sort of interest as that person. You are also thinking the same way as that person. And look, I think that's fine when people share similar attributes and stuff like that. But when I see leftism, and you know that I have to use that term, by the way, because in my opinion, the term left has become synonymous with evil nowadays. Because if I'm being honest with you, I don't see anything that's redeemable about anybody that's on that side of the fence. I really don't. And what you have here that was dug out by Ferg is Anita Saziak. Now, we will have a look at this character in a few moments about some of the tweets that she made. And this is Anita Saziak, and this is a woman that has spent an awful long time on social media over the last couple of years, trying to challenge people as well, calling them right and istophobes and stuff like that. This is a person that's not from our country, in our country, calling us racist. Amazing that, isn't it? And has used all sorts of, I would say, tweets and promos to get where she wants to go. And there's been many an article about this person, but as you're seeing here now, you don't have to look too far away from her. And there's Helen McEntee. Now, Helen McEntee's husband is involved with a pharmaceutical company, allegedly. I don't even know if you had to say allegedly speculatively on that one. He is involved with something to do with that. And that's a company as well that's hugely interested in Doubtfires. I think that's odd, isn't it? So it became known that Anita has a child that attends, wait to hear this one, Wilson's Hospital School. So that's where Enoch Burke works. Now, I thought it was also interesting, by the way, because this is how things have gone over the last week or two. That became a notable story. And then the media then decided to put out the they-them story. And Paul Murphy then tweeted the journalist and said, don't you have a child in that school? And people said, oh my God, can't believe he's had to do that. The attention was shifted away from this. And this is a very big story. And I've seen a couple of different places that look like they're going to cover it. I know that Grip Media have been doing a wonderful job, and it's great to see Ben Scanlon doing so well. And I know Matt Tracy that's over there as well too. He's doing a fantastic job. But they're starting to pull things together as well too, which is great to see. And they're like, what relationship has this person got with this person? What sort of movements are being made? Because you've got a woman there, for example, this woman here that cries wolf, allegedly, speculatively, about an awful lot of things, says that she's now money, was in the paper about that, and then is in a private school. The child is in a private school, and the tuition is very big money. It's nothing to be sniffed at. How did she afford that? How did she get that money? Where did it come from? €250,000 funding provided for Longford Pilot Safety Partnership. Oh. Funding of 250,000, which is $250,000, by the way, is to be provided for a new pilot community safety partnership scheme in Longford County. Councillors were given more details about this. Oh, why is that? $250,000 on what? That's from 2021. Longford projects to benefit from reinvestment of proceeds of crime seized by CAB. Oh, now it's starting to take a more sinister turn, because nowadays, and I'll say this, I will, people are starting to look at what's happening, and they're starting to see the likes of the media that are trying to talk about, and they talk about it all the time. The media this week, guys, we're talking about Garda members that have gone to Dubai and have met with police officers in Dubai, and they're talking about the extradition of guys. I tell you what, I'd probably vote for those guys over Valero Varadkar. I'd vote for them over Micheál Martin. That's just how it is. That's how it is. I would rather vote for those guys over any current politician that's in there sitting in the dot. I would. And I think a lot of people feel the same. They're just like, you didn't affect me nor my life. So I don't know why these people are going after you the way they are. But as I said before, I keep saying it. I think the boys in Dubai possess something that a lot of these people don't want people to know. I think a lot of people in the government and the media are very afraid of the lads in Dubai because they're going, they know an awful lot and they have an awful lot, potentially, allegedly, expectedly. I mean, when you see the likes of your woman Maloney only the last day or two as well, 2 videos of her rubbing the nose, the eyes wide. She's kind of like your man there that's over in the blue and yellow flag waving country that's going around there with loads of gym bags, you know what I mean? Like, like where are they getting that stuff from? Do you know what I mean? And I don't know where they're getting that from. But the fact that those people want to turn around and say, well, we're criminalizing that. Well, hang on here for a second. How can you be criminalizing that then when you're making multi-million euro deals with companies that you can't and you won't post to the public that you wanted to hide for 75 years? And it seems like within year two that an awful lot of people are catching a case of the suddenlies. I don't know about you guys, but I'm telling you now, and I mean this, cancer is rampant here in this country. I'm talking to people nearly weekly at this stage, and people I don't even know that are telling me like, oh, I heard about this person, that person has esophagus cancer, this person has bowel cancer, this person has this cancer, that cancer. And I'm like, the fact that the way of things have gone, the fact that the way things are mentioned the way they are, I'm looking at them going, why are people not talking about this in the way that they were over the sniffles? I mean, cancer used to be and perceived as a very serious thing. People now are like, well, I'm like, listen, I still perceive that the way it used to be perceived, where I'm like, that's not good news. It's certainly not good news. And not only that, then that's news that I would be severely panicked about, and people should know what's causing it. But there seems to be zero interest in it. Zero interest about the suddenlies. Zero interest in the high cancer rates. But totally be interested in guys that are selling things and the government can't tax that. Is that what that is? Is that what that is? Oh, okay, right. They can't put their finger into that, but they do when they see it. Oh, right, okay. Anyway, that's interesting, retrospectively, when it comes to these things. And as you can see here, then you've got the Probation Service, Department of Social Protection, HSC, former members who contributed to the plan. You've community partner, Longford Public Participation Network, and you've got residents, new communities, victims of crime representatives, and you've got, there's Anita there as well. And Didi Edihin, classic Irish name, that one. Classic Irish name, that one. And there's another one as well. So let's have a look down below, and I'll show you what went on during the week. So let's see if this moves quickly now. Camp can sometimes be a little bit slow when it comes to these things. You can see the videos on the left-hand side there. Let's have a look. If I put it in this one, I might put it in the following tweet. See, this is what you get with a live show, guys. It's Gonzo Productions. You're getting a few spoilers here as we go along. There we go. I got it there. Anyway, let's have a look here. You've got Anita Stasiak, who is saying, I did it. Who knows, knows. So Enoch Burke jailed for second time for breaching order. Now, what I find to be interesting about this whole situation is this. I get and I understand the people that are making the commentary, which are, why is the dude turning up to the jail? Or not the jail. Well, he is in jail now. Why is he turning up to the school? I hear it, I understand it, and I'm getting what people are saying. And to be quite honest with you, I don't understand it either. I'm like, well, that seems quite strange to me that the guy is turning up to the school. I don't really get what he's doing there. I don't know why he's doing it, but I would presume that he's doing it for the very reason that because of its illegal stance, that if he does vacate the premises when he's supposed to be actually working there, that if it goes to a higher court, that he's going to lose out then when it comes to that. I don't know. I'm not a legal. I'm someone that's just curious about what's going on and that's noticed an awful lot of what's happening. So this is a very strange statement for a person to be making with regards to Enoch Burke. What do you mean I did it? And who knows knows. Up until now, the parent and the child haven't been identified. They haven't been identified. They haven't gone to the media because that is something that you would normally see in this clown world that we see right now. You would see interviews be conducted with these people and these people tell you how stressed and strained they were due to the fact that a fella didn't want to listen and encourage something that is completely and utterly unrealistic and is unnatural and is quite aloof and not living in the real world. You want to push that upon him. Is that correct? Well, he said no. And you get the comments from the likes of the left on Twitter, and that is, well, he was harassing and he was abusing. And I'd say, okay, so what did he say? Quote what he said. Were you there? Were you there? What did he say? Well, he was speaking to his employer, and okay. So he was speaking to whom? He was speaking to the principal, okay? And he was speaking to her, oh, whore. He was speaking to her, was he? Speaking to her in a manner that wasn't liked, it wasn't nice, and he was harassing her. Why is that? Would you say the same if the principal had been a man? Would you have said the same then? I don't think you would have. You see, you like to play this little victim Olympics when it suits you. And what you want to say is, well, the day then people actually are above women, because this is where you're at now. This is the scale of what we're at right now, right? Okay. You've got black people that want to play the victim Olympics, that they're right there. They're at the top. Okay. And then right beneath them, well, no, you shouldn't say they're at the top now. It's another group that are at the top, but you can't talk about that group, by the way. They're at the top of the victim Olympics. And then you've got just in second place, then you've got the people there that like to tell you how bad your country is, but still come to it anyway and still stay there and invite more of their friends and family to this country and countries that are very similar to this one. You know, very strange individuals, of course. And then you have the likes of the Rainbow Flag Pirate Brigade. And what you have then is, after that, women. So just so you know, the rainbow flag stuff there, the day-dem stuff, that actually surpasses you as a woman. I'm just letting you know. And how do I know that? Well, you look at what happened to women's sports over the last couple of years, and it's been dominated by men, retrospectively on that one, because they're down for it. So anyway, that's how you know what's going on here now. You're going, well, that's a very odd sequence of events to have happened. And the fact that the man is in jail and was initially in jail and was initially in trouble for questioning something publicly, which is no issue. We still have free speech in this country, as much as they want to try and take it away. We still have it here in this country. It's still something that they have to get used to, and it's something that people are using more so than ever before. That's your crux of your issue. He broke a court order, then they told him to stay away from the school. This is a man that wants to go to work. And don't talk to me about court orders. Don't talk to me about court orders, you absolute jester, because you were the same type of person and people that were out there lauding the likes of Leo Varadkar and Micheál Martin and these parties that are in the government that were looking and seeking for you to be confined to your homes because of the sniffles, that didn't want you to be going to a bar, a restaurant, a gym, or a cinema unless you had taken something from companies that have long criminal histories. Long histories in deceiving people, in fraud. And you then want to tell me that, yeah, totally we should abide by the court orders when it comes to these things. You have no interest in the Geneva Convention or the Nuremberg Code. So this is what's happened over the last couple of years. And I said it at the beginning of the stream. There's been a cultural shift. You see, when I see these groups that are out there that are like, we're pro this and pro that, in terms of we're pro rainbow flag, pirate flag, we're pro immigrant council. Shams the whole lot of them. Wouldn't give them any sort of weight of water when it comes to these things. Wouldn't put anything into them, because I'm like, you people all went missing. All of you collectively went missing over the last couple of years during the sniffles, when it became very apparent after about 3 weeks for an awful lot of people, and still some people still bought into it. I've heard people this week, okay? Should I just... No, I'll press on with this, I will, rather than go into what I was going to say, because it'll factor in later on. You've got this woman out here. I did it. Who knows? Now, this happened to be a lightning rod, because people saw this tweet, shared this tweet, and started questioning this tweet. What are you talking about? Were an awful lot of the comments. So Jim here says, good morning, Anita. The beginning of the end, I hope. So again, I don't have to add too much commentary when it comes to this here, because to be quite honest with you, you have your own opinions. I have mine. I'm sure you share the same opinions as I do with relation to these things. These people are unhinged. These people are sick, And these people are coming into our country, and you've even got our own people then that are liaising with this sort of stuff here and saying, this is great, guys, well done there. These are people that have no issue, by the way, with certain stuff being shown to children. No issue with that at all. No issue with even pushing this sort of stuff. The fact that they want to see a Christian man in jail says an awful lot. And I have to be honest with you, I've been reading the Bible again very recently. And it's something that these people say, oh, well, your guy, he would have just totally accepted this. Did you not know what he said? He said he came with a sword, that he was saying, no, I don't want you to be looking at these people and revering these people at all. To revere God, that's what you have to do. And in fairness to Enoch, that's what Enoch has done. I have been reading the stuff over the last while. I have been reading an awful lot of the Bible, and I have been saying to myself, God Almighty, I can actually see what Enoch is doing here, and he's doing something as the Lord Himself said He would be distanced from by society. They would try and cast stones at him. They try and call him names and insults and all that. And you're seeing the exact same stuff be played out now. Again, now I'm not saying anything there. What I'm saying is Enoch is obviously a very virtuous follower, and that is what a virtuous follower is supposed to do. And now you've got a system that is completely morally bankrupt, that doesn't know what to do with a fella that has a higher power faith. They don't know what to do with him. They're like, because now this is causing an even bigger commotion, because they're like, not a fourth time, but second time you've decided to jail this guy. And they try and put it behind, well, he wasn't paying the fines and because he kept turning up to the place of work. How about looking at investigating the people that are involved in what went on? How about looking at the fact then that a lot of people are saying that the principal who moved on to a different school is in another school somewhere else and is at the exact same stuff down there, promoting all this sort of rainbow stuff. Just this week, people posted on Twitter that the INTO were sending out, and this is the Primary Schools Union, they were sending out leaflets to people and had a big spread, a 2-page spread on how they were able to put the rainbow flags out around schools around the country. They had another spread then as well too, within inside this same magazine, that was talking about combating the far right. And who was pictured proudly in both of them? Well, I should say even 3 people there that you would say 3 questions to be asked there. The first person was Michael D. Higgins was one of them. Well, we have to combat the disinformation. Oh, that's another word that you are constantly using, but you're not saying lies. That's a weird one. Philly McMahon was someone that was interviewed there talking about the far right guys. And then there was a guy there with a long beard who's been pictured and has been videoed in videos going around with Richard Boyd Barrett. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at that and I'm going, that's an awful lot of collusion going on there. And you're promoting stuff that is radical leftism. What has that got to do with anything to do with education? We are pushing it constantly. And here you're seeing people like these that are getting the jollies out of a guy going to prison. Here's what this woman said. And this is the thing here, guys. People that say, I feel sorry for her because of our son. You have to understand, and I mean this, these people don't play by the same rules that you and I do. They don't play by the same rules that you say that you're a moral, decent person, actually using the decent word correctly here, and that you're honourable. You have to, if you've never seen the Transformers 1986 movie, is all I'd say to you, have a look at the scene between Optimus Prime and Megatron. We are Optimus Prime, okay? Optimus Prime defeats Megatron and in an instant, hesitates. And Megatron, like the dirty coward that he is, throws up the old blaster and uses it on Prime. And what does he use in the meantime? And honest to God, I don't know whether the fellas in the 80s could see into the future or whether they just knew what was going on there based. Megatron uses a childlike character as a shield so that Prime can't respond. Honestly, mind-blowing stuff. It really is. And that's why I like to talk about entertainment and true entertainment sometimes. But this one goes on then to say, actually, in my humble opinion, prison is not a place for him. Help is needed. But separation from his mother can be a good start. Now, Enoch's mother said that she was very proud of him for what he was doing. And I have to say, I commend that woman. A lot of people are trying to take shots at the Burke family. I mean, what they all failed to mention in the articles is that those people possess something like 7 out of 10 children have PhDs. That's an amazing record. Like, that woman should be given a medal for that. And I mean, look, when it comes to these things, when it comes to awards and medals and stuff like that, because I see these things happening all the time. We're given a medal for this, that, and the other. It's all fluff. I'm given a title. My name is Grand Duke Franz of this. Nonsense, pure nonsense. Your name is Billy, and give it over. Stop. You know what I mean? So when it comes to this, it comes to these things, there, fair play to Enoch Burke's mother, and she's out there raising someone that is very much so a stalwart and believes in what he's doing. And I say, full support to him. So you've got that individual out there that's trying to say we did it. Who knows? What are you talking about? I'm looking forward to Grips Media potentially interviewing that woman and asking what does she mean about that. I'm looking forward to the Mocking Board Media asking that woman what she means about what she's been saying. Will they? Who knows? I put this up on Twitter. Now, I always find this funny because I think I'm shadow banned right now on Twitter. A lot of stuff gets a decent amount of views, it does, and it gets a decent amount of votes starting involved in it, and I love to see that I do, but it always seems to work out the same way. I keep saying to people, I'm like, these votes that I'm like, common sense here now is definitely returning. I pulled out another one, and it goes to show you as well how people are feeling at the moment, and I suppose as well too, you know, when you see the guards voting no confidence in Drew Harris, it gives me a good feeling. But you see, like, I put up a tweet there during the week, and I was asking if people saw a guard in trouble, we'll just say, we'll use the terms that are different that were on Twitter, but if you're seeing a guard in trouble, would you help? Well, 54% said no. 46% said yes. Now, I'm just saying to you that that sort of majority is, whilst it's slim, it's there now because of the behaviour of the Gardaí over the last few years. That's what has been grown and what has been cultivated because of the behaviour of what has happened with the Gardaí and what has happened with the people over the years. That's not something I want to see, is what I want to say. What I want to see is I want to see everybody abiding by the law. And I mean, as I said, I think we need to roll it all the way back now, and we need to be looking at the 10 Commandments and that being about it. Because these man-made laws of mockery and injustice that have been made over the last number of years, it's absolutely outrageous. To think that we live in a point in time now where you have Owen Hanley running around the country who was accused of hairdressing, we shall say, hairdressing a young fella. Nothing about him. Zero that's been talked about him. And you've got Enoch Burke in jail. That's like, no, I'm not using those ridiculous pronouns. You got to get out of here with that sort of stuff. That's actually wrong, and what you're doing is very damaging long term. This is where we're at. So I got this and I put this up here. I said, do you think that the rainbow flag should be banned in schools in Ireland? 96% said yes, and 4% said no. As I said to you beforehand, a lot of people have said to me in the comments as well, 4%, what do we mean by that? 4% of people are always going to vote the opposite of what is rational. I mean, like I said before, you could offer people £1 million every day and they'd go, nah, I'm all right, I'd rather do something else. Like, that's the options you could give people, and there'd still be 4% outside it. I was surprised when I seen other things that were a little less slim, and I'll show you now in a few moments. Who do you think should be in prison? 91% there said Leo Varadkar, and 9% said Enoch Burke. So 9% there. Oh, stop. 10% of this here think that he should, nearly 10% of this think he should be in jail. Mockery of justice. It's a mockery of justice. Anyway, don't forget that Leo Varadkar was under criminal investigation. He was there, and I think Sippo now, I think Dan's mixtape was talking about Sippo now have taken a keen interest again in Leo Varadkar, so that's interesting to say, the very least. I then put this up here, and this one was 100%, and that one was 100% for quite some time it was, and then there was a few late additions. Now I know what's going on with the ones like these. I know what's happening with the 4% as well too. These are people that are just being contrarian, by the way, because I had a fella on Twitter there that was stalking across there from Twitter onto YouTube over the last 24 hours. Like, this guy actually made an account on YouTube so as that he could talk to me on YouTube. And I was just like, this is great. More comments, more likes, more hearts been shared. People will notice this, by the way, in my comments there. They'll see a comment that is aimed at the channel or aimed at negativity, and I'll put a heart on it, and I'm like, this is great, because this definitely messes with these people. They go, why is he hearting my comment? Why is he pinning my comment? What's the story with that? And it's for that very reason I get a good laugh out of it. And I say to myself, the fact that you made up a YouTube account within the last 24 hours because I triggered you that much, You've now watched the content. You're now commenting on the content, which is good for my algorithm. I love it. I love it. And I love the fact that you're getting involved in these polls as well too, because as you can see, the view counts are going up on these things and they're going well. So I said, do you believe that the courts in Ireland are corrupt and open to political influence? 97% said yes, these are people with a functioning brain. 3% that have not got that said no. You've also then got, do you think the justice system in Ireland is fair, impartial and honest? 6% said yes and 94% said no. I would say fair play. Again, big numbers that are being shown there. So what I did was I then quoted this woman and said, a foreigner gloating over an innocent Irish man being put in prison, and she didn't like that, and she decided to block me. Now, Elon Musk has said over the last while that he's going to be removing the block feature from Twitter. Now, I have to be honest with you, I'm starting to see a real peel back in commentary on Twitter. I can see where people are a little bit more open with what they're saying, and things seem to be flying a little bit more. Like, you're starting to see a little bit more mudslinging and name calling. I'm like, well, that's not bad. That's not bad. I'm all for that. But if you decide to then make everybody unblocked from each other, you're going to have some interesting conversations for sure. Maybe that's Elon's plan, that he wants to push people into having conversations with each other. And I mean, you've got TDs that have people blocked. I mean, these are public servants that have people blocked from asking like normal questions. I mean, this guy there, that's from the Green Party, and I'm going to show you down below. I'm going to do a video on it as well too. This guy's blocking people left, right, and center that are asking them like, "Excuse me, you think a child is an adult? You think a 12-year-old is an adult?" We'll get into that soon. You've got the Gateway Pundit. I highly recommend these. These are great. This is a great website, and they show and tell you all about what's happening in the chat. You know, the chat that we're in when you're looking at these. I'm just having a look here at our own chat now, and I'm saying there's a couple of people having a laugh in the chat there. You've got the CDC here now that's out saying things down below. Is it in this one that I have? No, it's not in this one. CDC, by the way, just as a quick aside, CDC are out there saying, guys, get prepared for flu season. Get prepared for flu season. But guess what, guys? We're taking Tylenol. We're taking Benadryl. We're taking that off the menu. We are, guys. And you're looking and you're going, why are you taking that off there? Like, what's the story? Oh, the stuff that it's a decongestant that doesn't actually work. Okay, if you're telling me that doesn't work, it probably does. So you should probably stock up on things that are doing that for you, because you know they're all making the same sort of play now at the moment. And the Gateway Pundit are brilliant because now they've gone and they have a UN official calling for more controls over speech, greater censorship of the masses. Melissa Fleming is the chief communicator for the United Nations since 2019, and she says we own the science and think the world should know it. Oh no, we already do. We already know that. I mean, the science people that are out there, you're Luke O'Neill, he should be made wear like something you would in Formula One racing. You know the way where they have all the sponsors all over the suit? Luke O'Neill should be made wear one of those, because then we'd see what the story is there with relation to him. He's still out in the news, by the way. They're still talking about him. They're still chatting away about that guy and saying, oh, you know, he was totally right, he was, and he was totally vindicated about what he was saying. Interesting to say the very least. Interesting. You've got the Gateway Pundit again. They're telling the truth here. They're showing you what's going on. You've got Pope Francis joins forces with the Clintons, Yellen, Whitmer, Newsom, and others for Global Initiative 2023. The Clinton Global Initiative, CGI, is 2023, scheduled for September 18th and 19th in New York City, has announced that Pope Francis will be attending the summit together. So people do ask me, they're like, you're Catholic, but you're not a fan of the church. Absolutely. And I feel very sorry, and I feel very strongly for the base priests that are out there, because it is an institution that has been totally and utterly usurped. It has been totally and utterly controlled. And you can see the force with which are controlling it from this post alone. And that's why, as I said to you before, I'm a huge and staunch Roman Catholic. I'm a staunch Christian. And when you see these people here then gathering together, they're just making a mockery of the whole thing. They are, oh no, we're just talking. This guy over here, this guy's been to an island now. This guy, there was a portrait of him in a dress on that island. And not only a portrait of him, but a portrait of George as well too, playing with the yellow paper airplanes. Like, this stuff was all there. And you were hanging around with him, how you big smiley face there. You didn't have a smiley face on him when he was meeting Donald Trump. And remember that because the media talked about it for they did for about 3 weeks. Pope Francis there didn't have a very good face on when he met Donald Trump. Okay, well, that would say to me that Donald Trump was probably telling him what he thought of him. And he was telling him what he thought of what was going on. Because don't forget, by the way, this has been a huge operation to try and dismantle the church from nefarious forces, I would say. They don't like it. They don't like it in an operation. They don't, because, of course, it points to the reality of the situation and it points back the mirror at who it should be pointed back at. Cosmic crater probed by Irish TV revealed to be just a hole dug by two lads with a beach spade. So this is from the NY Post. So this is how international this has gone. It's caused uproar now that media outlets around the world are like, this media outlet here in Ireland were caught out. How was that media outlet caught out? The so-called cosmic crater was just a hole some folks dug in the sand. How did they get conned? And to me now, this is a real showing of the hand and where they're going to go to next. They're going to fully go in on this alien stuff here now. I'm telling you, they're going to go all in. They're actively telling people, hey, the UFOs there are real, guys. Very interesting. So this is what I was talking about here earlier on there. You've got the TCDSU. Oh, nobody feels sorry for anyone in Trinity College, to be quite fair. And PWO are staging a blockade of the Book of Kells to protest Trinity's decision to raise the price of student accommodation by the maximum legal limit. Homes for all. How many of you goofies were out there saying refugees for all? How many of you goofies were turning up to NGO Fest? Because if you were doing either of those things, it's that Joker meme. You know, the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. You get what you deserve. I'm not going to say the word, obviously. But you get what you deserve. And this is what you keep doing. You people are out there. I don't know, and I can't understand. I really can't. I can't understand how people do not possess any sort of brain that looks at the situation and goes, maybe I've contributed to that. Maybe the fact that I'm saying open the country up for virtually everybody and let everybody in and house those people, totally house those people, and the direct provision people, oh yeah, let them out and let them run amok through the country, 100%. And in the meantime, I've nowhere to live. You're dumb. You're a silly person. Like, how have you attained a position in Trinity College? And I'm telling you now, what has happened over the last few years is there's been a cultural shift with people and a mental shift with people where they look at what goes on in places like this and they go, these people are no different than the tradesman. That the tradesman who is wired to what's going on, he knows what's going on for a very long time. Not all tradesmen, by the way, because don't forget, an awful lot of tradesmen have been complicit in what's going on over the last while. But a lot of people out there are saying, hey, it seems like people with PhDs and with these masters and all these sort of things that are just going out and reading out books and regurgitating it, they don't seem to know what they're talking about. And not only did not know what they're talking about, but they're just regurgitating things. They're not saying anything meaningful. They're not understanding, not critically thinking. Has any of these people gone home and has anybody that's related to them gone, do you know what there, Velma? You think that people coming into this place and there being no homes and homes are already expensive and rent is already expensive, and you think shoving those people into where you used to stay was a good idea and that those people were going to leave? You got it. Are you well? You're definitely not. 100%. Homes for all. And then you've got Sinn Féin that have come out of woodwork over the last week or so, and they're like, we're going to fix the housing crisis. You've got Mary Lou that's come out of her slumber and has said, oh no, I had a couple of operations. And I'm looking at that going, it's not said in the article, but she says that she had something removed, and then she said she had multiple tumours removed, and I'm looking at that going, I wonder. Anyway, we look at this here, homes for all. This is a phrase, and this is a catchphrase they like to go, and you've seen the videos that are there, homes for all, protest the college, and you're like, just pure zombies here. They're pure zombies. Shocking increase in excess passings, because I'll always touch back on this here, guys, because, you know, the sniffles was something that shouldn't be forgotten about, and none of these people in government or in the media or in NEFA or in the medical industry have faced any repercussions for anything that went on there. They didn't face any repercussions at all. They're not facing any repercussions for the case of the Suddenlies. There was a video that came out there last week. I don't know who took it, but full credit to the man who did, who confronted Mike Ryan from the WHO and was asking him, He says, what's the story with all these people with the case of the suddenlies? He didn't say it like that, but he said, like, what's the story with all people with the suddenly? And why have we got people that are having issues after taking the Voldemort? Well, Ryan's a big lad, and I mean that in terms of weight. And he waddled away very quickly. And what happened then was there was people then that stood in front of this guy from being able to follow Ryan and ask him follow-up questions. That shows me that you don't have confidence in debating how important that thing was that you suggested to everybody. It also shows me then that you don't seem to think that the efficacy of it was very good, do you? Or maybe it was, because maybe it's causing things like this, and where things like these are always in the plan. I would suggest that it probably was. As I said before, I think the woke movement is dying, and I think an awful lot of people out there, I'm not hearing an awful lot from the left. I know a couple of people outside, there's a couple of them that turn up in the chat here now and again, but they get bounced out of the chat pretty quickly to do, because there's about 170 people in here watching this now, and I would say 99.9% of the chat, I keep telling people, I look at the live feed after, and I like, it has in and around 150 likes, and then 2 people come in and dislike it. Now, whether that's because of what I'm talking about, they dislike it, or whether they're just someone that comes in here is like, I don't like this guy talking about what's going on, and then they hit the dislike button. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, it's good for the algorithm, so I don't mind. But when you have these sort of incidents that are happening and nobody seems to be talking about this at all, and I mean, that's when you're looking at our own politicians that are in the Dáil now. Peadar Tóibín, to be fair, has been chasing this up. Now, do I fully believe in what Aon2 are going to do? I don't potentially believe in what they are going to do. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm seeing other people that I'm saying, well, I'd probably get in behind that there, like the Ireland Force there from Derek Bloig. I like that. I like that Philip Dwyer has potentially been involved with that, or maybe in the future. Who knows? And I would like to see other people doing that. I'd like to see, I've seen the Irish Farmers Association now saying that they're going to run people in constituencies. I'm saying that's great. And I've said it before, based farmers in the countryside are going to be very important. It'd be like what happened in Holland. Because the things that are happening to the farmers here are no joke. They're telling them, by the way, guys, we actually need to cull the cows, and we're going to give you $2,000 a cow, and then we're going to import the beef from Brazil, and that's for the climate. And these guys are looking at the Green Party, and the farmers are not stupid. The farmers are very important people, by the way, and an awful lot of people don't give them the credit that they are nearly due. They are the reason why you're eating. They are the reason why you are drinking. And it's as simple as that. Without farmers, you wouldn't be doing either of those things. And you get idiots that are in the likes of TCD there, and they're going, oh my God, the farmers are right-wing, racist, festivals. And you're looking down, you're a stupid person. And you're like, are you enjoying that? Are you enjoying that bar that you're eating there? It's actually a corn bar. Oh yeah, that's why you have brittle little bones on you. Yeah, of course, you keep going there. But do you know how many insects and how many birds and how many mammals had to be cast on the wayside for you to have that corn? Do you know that? Do you know anything about that? Of course you don't. Do you know anything about the tofu or anything like that? You don't. You have no idea about what's happening. So anyway, shocking increase in excess passings needs urgent investigation, says TD. So Aon2 leader Peadar Tóibín has called on Minister for Health Stephen Donnelly to urgently convene an independent inquiry into the cause of excess passings to the state. Stephen Donnelly, another fella that should be arrested and should be put in jail. This fella would be more appropriate to be in jail than Enoch Burke. Like, where we're at. And see, this is why I suppose the Garda situation is at a very tender stage. And I said to people before, whilst you're looking at people like the ones that talk to Philip Dwyer down in Electric Picnic or wherever the premises is, I don't know where it is. I've never been to something like that. It's not my bag. I'm not interested. And when Philip went down there and was on the site there going, look at the place that they have for these people, and then was turfed out of the place down, very much so according to him, manhandled by people there that were security. And then the Gardaí are going along there and they're going, sure, that's private property. It's private property in there. Meanwhile, Philip's car is in the property. The car is private property, boys. And then Philip is able to qualify what he's saying and quantify what he's saying by saying, hey, look, guys, you guys are keepers of the peace. You should be escorting me in there to get the car out. I saw no signage on the way in, and I can prove it with the video that I took that says this isn't private property because there's no signage. But it is private property. You're not listening to what the man is saying. His car is in there. He'll go on his merry way. And you're standing there arguing about what is private property and what's not private property. But guess what? You're going to find out in terms of you will realize that your rosters are not good. You'll realize that the guy that's heading over the whole organization doesn't seem to know what he's doing at all. Or if he is, he's doing it very badly. And you're looking at him going, oh, he's some guy now to be following. You need you. And again, another individual that's probably a sheep. Oh, yeah, sure, take my badge number, sure, I don't care. Because is there going to be any sort of comeuppance with that relation to people making a complaint to GSOC? Is there? Probably not. But these people, unfortunately, and this is something that I would change if I was running the guards, I would make it mandatory. And when you say mandatory, by the way, that's not something that's legal or anything like that. That's a word that these people like to throw out over the last few years. But you might as well for the laws. That these people need to start learning the laws when they're going through Temple More. Because, by God, is it absolutely unbelievable to see people that are there, that throw on a uniform, that think they're bloody Alex Murphy from RoboCop going around the place, going, I've put a uniform on, you have to listen to me. You don't know the law. You've no clue. And you've got fellas there like Philip Dwyer saying to you what's what, and you're looking at them going, and you're on camera, well, put down the phone and I wouldn't be this way. That's what was intimated, in my humble opinion, legislatively. You're seeing these people, and this is the thing, you're right. You know your own video, and I'm just saying this as an allegedly, speculatively, I'm taking this as a fictitious story that I'm telling here. But you have people that are out there that are going, I wouldn't be talking to you the way I'm talking to you because I'm in uniform if you weren't recording. But here's the thing. How would you be talking to me if I wasn't recording you? And how would you have been talking to me if I didn't record you at all? A lot of people have a lot of distrust now, is what I'm saying. And of course, there's going to be distrust there when you have Stephen Donnelly still running around the place, and an awful lot of people don't seem to be talking about him anymore. What sort of deals did he do with those big companies? Why is he going around telling people, hey, we would have liked to see people continue wearing masks, but we were afraid that we wouldn't get too much compliance on public transport anymore. So was it about health or was it about compliance? Seems like it was about compliance. It comes as it was revealed to the Midwest TD that the number of excess passengers each month in the last year were 13% higher than the average number of passengers in that same month during the years 2016 to 2019. That's a huge jump, guys. That's an absolutely massive jump. Unbelievable. And this has just been, don't worry about that. Don't think about that there, guys. See, this is what an awful lot of this whole Doubtfire situation is down to. It's to try and distract you from things like this. Because I'm hearing people, and this is where I said I would talk about it, and now I'm talking about it now. I'm hearing people with weird stories. They're like, cancer through the roof. Suddenly through the roof. I'm having physical issues and ailments. I'm after getting this thing 4 times. And I'm quadruple done. And I'm looking down. Are you not asking any questions? Because if you're not, I definitely have more of an inkling as to what type of brain you possess than I did beforehand. And if you aren't asking questions, which you should be, I think you're probably very afraid. Because I would be too if I was in your shoes. I'd be really scared. And a lot of these people that are out there that don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit they're afraid. Because I would be absolutely bricking it if I was someone that took this stuff here and was just like, oh no, I'm seeing all the numbers. And see, this is why you see such a visceral and agitated and aggressive pushback when you point things like this out, because people want to just put their heads in the sand and say, oh, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. The facts of the matter are there is something wrong. And it's wrong globally. It's wrong so globally that you're seeing athletes with issues, former athletes with issues. You're seeing celebrities with issues. You're not seeing controversially, you're not seeing any politicians with issues. And they don't all seem to be very healthy specimens. Sure, they don't. Athletes are. But these people, no, doesn't seem to be an issue there at all. A couple of them here and there, I would say maybe even Z-listers that are having issues there. But doesn't seem to be any of the A-list ones there that are having any problems at all. So doesn't some of the ones that were the biggest proponents of it as well. Do you remember your man Bill de Blasio there in America that was like, you can have these fries and these burgers if you go and just get it. And I'm looking going, this is how Clown World got. Clown World got to the point where people were doing things like that on the TV. And the same was here. Leo Varadkar talking about the town there. We will not look at today, but we'll look at tomorrow. And like Sarah Connor said, that, we just got to look too far into the future for ourselves. And you're looking and you're going, what is he saying? What is he talking about? Did he just quote the Terminator? I didn't quote the Terminator there. I don't really know any lines from the Terminator, from being honest with you. I just made that up there. But anyway, he was then going on, quoting the Terminator, yeah. And do you see my socks? Did you see them? Yeah. They're actually they're steel colored, and that's actually to be referencing the T800. He didn't say that either. I just thought it'd be funny. But anyway, this is where we have these people now that you have articles coming out going, things are higher now than they were then. What's the story with that? Well, the media will go and say, well, people are back out and they're enjoying life, and some people are doing very silly things. And we've had a lot more road traffic accidents. Road traffic accidents? Like the case of the car starter just veering off the road on their own, is it? Right. And what was the Greens' policy there as soon as a car crash happened only a couple of weeks ago? An absolute tragedy. We need to slow down the roads, guys. We need to slow down the speed. It's for the climate too. Wow. And now the Greens, honest to God, how anyone voted for them in the first place is beyond me. I don't think so anyway. I have my own opinions on that one. But next time, I don't think they're going to get any votes. If you know someone that's a Green Party voter, wait until you see the video that's going to come out, honestly. And probably show you some of the stuff here in the stream here tonight. I mean, holy moly. The Green Party are infested with bad guys. And then, is it any surprise then when you've got Eamon Ryan, who has his head in the clouds there, who's totally aloof, that doesn't know what's going on, and you've got subordinates underneath him that are complete deviants, allegedly, speculatively. And you've got people there then as well too that are just pure villains, like, allegedly, speculatively. So 98.7% of Garda voted no confidence in this man's leadership. Now, I've seen this here as well, and look, I understand and I get it. Resign Drew, resign Helen. I understand. But asking someone, and I keep saying it, and I know it's not popular amongst our side, asking someone to step aside, which people have been doing now for a while, listen, I do think it's going to work. I do think it's going to work. That's where I stand with it. I stand with, well, they're going to give each other the heave-ho because you're dealing with a viper pit full of snakes here in politicians that are currently here running the country. Not a backbone amongst them, but they're very happy to turn on people when it suits them and then put the next Egypt and line then in. And that's where I have the problem. My problem is that you're going to just get the next Egypt in line, and don't forget, you have a Canadian woman that's full in on this leftism, this wokeism as well too, that was drafted over here not too long ago, that will possibly be promoted into a position like this here. And if you think that this fella's bad, you ain't going to see nothing until this one starts running around the place and ruling the roost. It's bad. Okay? So asking these people to step aside and resign to me isn't the way to go. I think that these people should be arrested. And I think there should be a real play made for that now. And I think that should be on the minds of normies as well too. I've seen a couple of people that have said, well, that's too strong to send a message to normies. But it should be the message that's been sent, because these people need to be held responsible for what they've done. They need to go. These people need to be put in prison for what they've done. This guy has overseen a complete and utter regime that has never been seen before in this country until the previous regime that was running this country, the British Empire. This gang that are in the Dáil now are actually worse, in my opinion, than the British Empire. They're worse. And people say, well, that's a lot, Ninja, because the British Empire were here for over 800 years. And yeah, I know, I agree with you, I do. And that's a very bold statement to make. But these people are definitely worse. Definitely worse. Because at this moment in time, you have a group of individuals that care so little about any repercussion. Like, these people are not afraid. Like, this guy has had, this is where you're looking at this. This fella has a 98.7% vote that's against him. And he's told the Gardaí to go and fuck themselves, essentially, 3 times. 3 times. He's been like, I'm not worried. That's the first thing he said. Not worried about it at all. Then it came out, it started to get out through the waters then, because there was obviously a lot of noise that are being made by the Gardaí that are like, I'm not happy about this. And then he was like, well, if a no vote comes, I'm not really bothered. Paraphrasing here as well too, I'm not directly quoting. And then the result came out then and was like, well, I'm not going anywhere. So he told you to go and fuck yourself 3 times. And that's what you're left with. This is the card you've been dealt with now. And this is the hand you've been dealt, because you've decided to abide by absolute nonsense for the last number of years. You've done it for quite some time. And I would say it's been for a very long time, because when I talk about things like the likes of the water charges, the bin charges and stuff like that, then the property tax and stuff, you're looking at that and you're going, this is going on a very long time. That a lot of people sat there, looked at that and said, no problem at all. Like, this is the position you're in right now. As I said to you beforehand, there's a lot of people look negatively upon the Gardaí now. They're resigning en masse. They're retiring as well too in their droves, which means that there's nobody in there to replace them, which means that they're understaffed, which means criminality is at an all-time high. I mean, Helen McEntee's running around there saying, hey, Dublin's safe. And then you're hearing story after story, week after week of things going on in Dublin. And you're like, it's not, definitely not. That's a lie. And then you're hearing people then go around saying, I actually don't feel safe. And this is men and women. And then this guy gets a 98%, we should even say closer to 99% vote that says, no, I don't think you're the right man. And he's like, nah, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay. Like, this is a person that's overseeing law and order in this country. I mean, if this was a football manager, and I'm going to take that as an example, people in the Manchester United club turned on Jose Mourinho. In my opinion, one of the greatest managers of all time. And the club sided with the players, because there was more players than there was the manager. And for the last couple of years, the club have decided we're going to just get rid of the manager to keep the players happy because there's more of them. Right? That's what normally happens. It's changed over the last year or so now, where the owners need to be giving Ten Hag a little bit more time. But his day will come as well too, where they'll go, no, we're going to side with the gang there. I think it's on the way anyway, if I'm being honest with you. I'm seeing what's happening. I'm like, the guys aren't going to like the sponsorships going down the tubes here, especially with TikTokers like Jadon Sancho being told you're out into the reserves there. And like, anyway, going back to this, sorry, from football. When you have such a high turnout that they actually said that the turnout from Gardaí was very high, and they've said now that this has been the case. The following morning, if this was a serious country, listen, and I'm going to tell you this here now. If this was the UK, right, and I'm just saying this because, as I said before, you see them people and you see the way things go there. If this was the UK, the following morning, this fella had been out the door. Either he would have been sacked or he would have been resigned. But that's not happened. He's still in charge. And he's just like, I'm just going to stay here. And then they're like, well, maybe he might go back to the PSNI. And you're looking at this going, this fella's done such a bad job that he's like, I might go to the PSNI. I mean, that's like Stephen Kenny turning around tomorrow and being like, I've been relieved of my Ireland duties, but I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and manage Chelsea there. Or I'm going to go manage another club. Yeah, sure, I'll work out there. It didn't work out here. And this would have been an easy enough job. But it's not, because all you are is a stooge. All you are is someone that's used as a battering ram to bring in what's happened in this country, which is over subscription into the country. People running amok in the country that's causing issues then, which obviously as well too, because this is what the forum wants. They want to heighten communities' tensions. They want to heighten racial tensions. They want to heighten gender tensions as well too. And then they want to heighten tensions amongst everybody. So, and see, this is what they do. All they're doing is they are pitting everybody against each other. They are, instead of looking back. And like I said here, it's great saying resign Helen, it's great saying resign Drew, it's great saying resign Roderick. But what needs to be happening is far more serious, and that these people need to be arrested for what they've done. They need to be in jail for what they've done. And like I said, this whole idea and shtick, and I think we're about 5 to 10 years off it, perhaps, maybe, where people are plumazing and they're having the idea of, well, it's a politician and I don't want to go and say that they should be arrested. You absolutely should be. You 100% should be. I mean, at this stage of the game, this fella should have been relieved of duties 9 o'clock the next morning. Good luck to you. You're gone. How can you stand over such this? And this is the thing, and this is how the place that we have now, which is this country that's totally overrun and run by incompetence, it's too stupid to be stupid. Because if I was running the show here in this country, if I was leading the place, if I was Taoiseach, and I saw this, do you know what I'd be doing? I'd be stressed. I'd be worried. Because I'd be saying to myself, well, he's after basically telling them to go and take a hike 3 times. What happens if these people actually decide, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to investigate Leo. We're going to investigate Helen. We're going to investigate Roderick. Who's that you're tweeting with, Roderick? Peter Tatchell? We're going to have a look into you guys here. That's what I would be afraid of if I was them. I'd be terrified. And that's what should be coming back. Like, and that should be, listen, I know what you'll say, and I feel the same way. That should be happening anyway. We should have police here that are looking at what's happening and looking at what's going on and saying, that's bogey there, what's happening, look into that. Instead, now you've had the media over the last couple of weeks. Police are very interested in people with dodgy boxes. Dodgy boxes? Look at what's going on with these people here. They don't believe in the fella that's running them. And then you've got government ministers that are sitting there twiddling their thumbs going, what am I going to do with Ben Scallon today? I'm going to throw my eyes up. Am I going to look down on him today? Is that what you're going to do? Because if I was you, I would be very, very, very concerned. I'd be saying to myself, this is a problem because now you've got an overwhelming majority, and I've told you before, I've said it, and cause and effect is a very real thing. You've an overwhelming majority now that have been silent, and as I said to you beforehand, it's been very hard pressing for me to criticise the Gardaí. I said it a while ago where I was just like, very hard to back them now, lads. It's very, very difficult because what you're doing here with relation to what's happening in the country and just overseeing people and pushing people out of their communities and pushing them aside to put these fellas into these areas, you're losing the people. And I think now the silent majority that's there have finally spoken and have said, okay, this is enough now. I honest to God mean this. This is how arrogant the politicians and these people that are in these places are, that they think nothing of this. They think, yeah, don't worry. That's how they think about you in the uniform. They've all collectively told you to fuck yourself. Like, are you not thinking about that now? Are you not saying to yourself, right, that's the fella that's running us there that told us where to go? And the politicians obviously care so little about what we'll do. They're actually not even interested. Like, it doesn't matter to us there. It's just scraps off the table, really. In a functioning society, lads, they'd be really concerned. Because I know that I would be, if I was in their position, I'd be like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? I'd be looking at it going, this isn't good. Because as I said before, and I keep talking about it, I will, but you've got something that I've been talking about, and I was talking about Jocko Willink, who had said it, which was, if you have an overwhelming majority of the population that decide not having this, you're not going to stop them. And then he says, and if you have that population that say we're not having this, then you're going to also then have people in law enforcement that will initially say, no, we're not going to go along with that. He said about 50%. And then after that, he says another 25%, between 25 and 30%, then will go along because they'll see which way things are going to go. Numbers are on this side, and that's it. Game over. Ball burst. You'll see Afghanistan, you'll see Sri Lanka. Very similar things occurred there. Now, I'm not suggesting, I'm not endorsing, and again, as I always say, I'm always peaceful, respectful, and I promote as such. Peaceful and respectful ways have got us to where we're at right now. And this is what I want to say to you. It's more interesting and it's more applicable that you attract bears with honey rather than flies with vinegar, because that's what's happened here now. I keep saying to people, whilst I was let down and publicly said as well too, it's very difficult to support these people anymore after what they've done. This is a bit of hopium, I suppose, that you're like, well, maybe they're not as bad as we think we are, and maybe we should keep on talking, because that's something I like about Philip. It's something I like about Fergan. It's something I like about the various people that are out there that are talking to guards, like the likes of Gavin Pepper as well, that's there, that are talking to these people and are like, do you not see what's going on? Are you not afraid for your family? And very reasonably talking to these guys, and most of the time people would say they're actually very receptive. Do you know how I know that that's the truth? Because you've seen leftist outlets that have been panicked, politicians panicked, NGOs panicked, that the fact that the people are actually talking to the guards and the guards are talking back to them. What's the first thing that they do the following day when something happens like that? They go, oh my God, I can't believe the guards are talking to those people. We need to start cracking down on these people. And I'm looking at it going, that's a total victory there. You totally think that these people are going to be under your influence forevermore, but that's not happening. Here's the result. So like I said, you catch more bears with honey than you do with vinegar. So, to me, this is a good position to be in. But like I said, if you're in uniform and you're listening to this, or if you know someone that's in uniform, surely to God, you're thinking to yourself now, holy moly, these people actually do not care, because they're not going nowhere anytime soon. Your man's basically like Gareth Southgate. He's like, nobody wants me, but I'm still here. Anyway, what a percentage. I mean, if it had gotten to 100, I'd have been like, that's seriously impressive. But unfortunately, obviously, it got only as far as 98.7%, which isn't bad. It's better than zero. It's better than zero. But like I said, I think people need to be talking to Gardaí still. And that's what I'll always say. I know people get emotional, and I certainly do. And I mean, we're only human as well, too, at the end of the day. And it irritates me to no end that when I see people going into mass, and this is part of the problem as well too, when they go into mass and stuff like that, and they say, okay, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to break this up because of the sniffles. And you're like, well, you're not showing that across the board. You're not doing that same thing across the board. You're not shutting everything down. I mean, here's the craziness of what went on. You could walk into a restaurant with a mask on, sit down, take the mask off, eat your dinner, sit there for however long, and then get back up, put a mask on, and walk out the door. That's how stupid things went here in this country and over the world. But this is a good sign, and this is what I think. I think people need to be talking to people, and like that as well. As I said before, I said it last week, I did it the week before. I said, hey, there was a video that came out of a fella recording a foreign person being arrested, and there was one guard out of about 15 that was like, shut that off or I'll turn the phone off and I'll confiscate it off you, allegedly speaking. And I was like, there's 13 other people there that are in uniform that should have spoken up and should have said, what are you talking about? Shut up. Do you know what I mean? But that's the result. Those people that were probably standing there going, that idiot there is opening his mouth and telling the person he's going to confiscate his phone off him for showing what's going on. They're probably part of the vote that said, yeah, get your man out here. And the other fella that's saying I'll confiscate the phone, and people like that are talking to Philip in sort of ways, any sort of ways, are part of the other percentage. What's it, the 1.3% that are saying, Drew is for me. I mean, the fact that you have 1.3% in here that think that this fella's all right says an awful lot, doesn't it? So anyway, enough about the guards anyway. And best of luck to you guys, because I hope that you end up seeing sense. I hope you end up doing the right thing. I would love to see you arresting this fella. This guy definitely needs to have hard drives checked. At the very least. I mean, is he in league with Peter Tatchell? What's going on here? Why is it that so many Green Party members are making weirdo comments, and they're saying weirdo comments, greedo comments? Why are they making comments like that? Why is this fella openly out there talking to grift media, throwing his eyes up into the air and talking about Doubtfire children? How is that possible? How is that possible? Is that not potentially child abuse? Is it not? Article Gorman emailed by TDs over concerns about refugee accommodation and far-right figures. This is how you know you're winning. Okay? Dozens of TDs have emailed O'Gorman about refugees in the past year. What is going on right now is an awful lot of them in the Dáil have to toe the party line because they've been told what to do and what to say. And they're now onto this fella. And this is how, things are working out. When the media is reporting it, they're like, oh no, we're going to have to start putting a bit of pressure on him, is what the new thing is going to be in terms of the media, is what I'm saying. Far-right figures, what do they mean? These people mean individuals. TDs are now concerned, just so as you read between the lines here, TDs are concerned not about this, they're concerned about this. Far-right figures. What's a far-right person? I'll tell you what a far-right person is. It's a person that believes in law and order, that believes in borders for the country, and that believes in fairness, justice, and the Irish way. That's what they believe in. They believe in this country being prosperous and preserving its heritage for the future. That's what far right is nowadays. I mean, I think it always was, probably. And people are looking at it going like, these are the labels that they're trying to cast upon people that say, oh, don't talk to them or anything like that. If anyone's labeled far right nowadays, I'm like, I definitely want to hear what that person is saying. Streisand effect. But reading between the lines here, TDs are concerned about far-right figures. Why? Because the people that they've been labeling far-right are starting to gather influence. They're starting to gather steam. They're starting to gather interest from locals that have said, hey, I think you should run. And some of these guys and ladies have said, I think I will. TDs now are afraid about their seats, because what you're going to start seeing now is you're going to start seeing something very akin to what happened in America. And like I said, you see what happens in America and it ripples across the way here, because America is a cultural juggernaut. There's no country in the world that has affected culture as much as America. And that's just a fact. It's just a fact. They just pump stuff out. And what has been happening over there starts to move its way towards here. Look at what happened in America. And look how much they shifted. They shifted from things being like... two sides of the same coin here, guys. You can vote for them this time. I'll vote for me this time. And then Trump came along. And I have my issues with Trump. Don't get me wrong. I do have my issues there with him, especially with the pushing of the Voldemort and that. He's still doing it. Whoever's in his camp that's telling him to do that, bad idea. I'm going to come back to haunt him. But anyway, you had him come along, and it's just been something unlike anything anyone's ever seen before. Maybe you could say Reagan was quite similar. He does take an awful lot from Reagan, to be fair. But other people then who would have had never had a career in politics started entering the fray. And some of them now are some of the biggest supporters and are the biggest proponents for good. And they are people that would have gone nowhere near politics had that been the case beforehand. It wouldn't have happened. So this is what's happening now here in this country. Our politicians are now afraid that their seats are up for grabs. Because if you have, as I said before, if you have 500 people that are in County Clare, for example, that turn up to a talk from a person, let's just say Joe Blogs, right? They're interested in what Joe Blogs is talking about. And old Micheál Martin there, he's not in Clare, but he's in Cork. But I'm just using a various example here. You get another politician, the Fianna Fáiler, that's been falling in line with Micheál Martin for the last few years, and they're not turning up to that talk there. Well, it's very clear to who the people are in the area as to who's going to win. So if there's any shenanigans, then people are going to call it out and see that, and that's not good for these people. So these people are now afraid of their positions. So you've got the Gardaí now that have overwhelmingly voted against a choice that was made and a person that was placed where they were for unknown reasons, I would say. How they managed to get someone from the PSNI into here and then have them running the police was it's beyond me. But anyway, now these people are starting to go, our seats are up for grabs. You better stop this. You better halt this now because we're in trouble now. And that's good to see. Dublin Live, a number of pupils are now taking the step from fandom to active self-identification, creating their own personas by choosing animals and traits they best identify with, knowing their peer groups as personas. More children identifying as animals as experts issues advice to parents. What sort of parent allows their child to do this though? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, unbelievable. Refugees are welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear. There's no student accommodation. Far right. You know, this is a perfect meme. And credit to the satirical soldier there. He's been putting out these things. He puts out bangers. He puts out brilliant memes. He does. Have I not got Fergus Power as a mod here? That actually should be happening. Hang on. If satirical's in here as well too, he should actually be a mod too. Ferg, I'm putting you as a mod because you're a legend. I want Ferg to have a spanner as well too. I want the name to be highlighted so people can see him. He's been doing unbelievable work. So we keep going. The far right, of course, Michael Brazil's in here as well too. That's unbelievable. But the Irish gets in here. ISD, Global, Aoife Gallagher and Cow were on to me for comment and report coming out on misinformation, disinformation ecosystem in Ireland. What a legend you are, man. What a legend. I hope you thought them to get bent. Anyway, you've got two old people here, as you can see. So people would say, and this is the thing as well, by the way, people would say, oh, it's just your generation, Ninja. It's just the people in the 30s and 40s that are getting involved with this whole, stop at the far right stuff. Look at these two people. More can you say that joke? Can I say the chin joke and the phone book? Can I say that one? Let's not play the YouTube roulette. You know what I mean? Let's just as we can see here, you know yourself. Stop far right indoctrination, and this guy here as well too. Like, oh my god, this is your whole personality. What is far right indoctrination? Can you explain that? You see, it's anything that challenges your worldview. And a lot of these people, by the way, don't forget as well too, a lot of the people that are holding on to this worldview of leftism are people that have bought into a hook, line, and sinker over the years, and they're too far into it to come back. Okay, they're out there, they're gone, they're out at sea, and they're never been rescued. They're just not going to happen. Okay, but there's still a chance and still hope, and this is why these people are very afraid. They're very afraid of when people are talking now because they're like, you shouldn't have negative thoughts. And this is something, when I say negative thoughts, you shouldn't think things are untoward by these people that are looking over us. I think I will. Because you know why? Because human history is littered through hundreds, thousands of years of bad people that are running establishments that do bad things. And until they were called out, they were keeping on running those things as they were for a very long time, and bad things happened to good people, and then finally good people got in charge, and bad things happened to bad people, and good things happened to good people. Unfortunately, now we're back in the point in time where, hey guys, we're under people that are doing bad things, and now you've got people that are out there like these that are like, don't question the message. Don't question the science. Okay, well, that's your science, is it? Is that how it is? You got people out there that are saying, don't question the science. Science! Of your man there in America there. A fella that was involved in stuff that went on years ago, he was with the lads there that were in bathroom houses, would we say? Is that what we just say? Bathroom houses? They're over there and they're like, guys, we lived through the 80s. We know how hard it was. Mm-hmm. I would say the generation before you failed you because they didn't show you the way. They didn't keep you on track. And similarly as well too, an awful lot of this generation have an awful lot of weight to bear, and they have an awful lot of water to carry when it comes to the generation after them, then running around like you see there with multicolored hair, with 50 million piercings in their face, telling you that they're they, them, and that their name is Zarina Foxophobe, and that they identify as a fox. Do you know what I'm saying? You people have the water to carry for that can. It's you. You have failed in your stewardship to give people a good life and set them on the right path. And then you're turning around going, stop far right indoctrination. What does that mean? What does that mean? Do you know what far right indoctrination means? It means growing up, being a sensible person, being a productive worker into society, and then also then moving on and saying, hey, I'd like to get married and have a family and produce. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I don't want the government interfering too much in what I'm doing here. I think the less the government knows about me, the better. That's what people want. They just want a nice life. They just want to move as is. And you people keep putting your finger into these people's eyes. You keep just poking John Rambo. And John Rambo's going, don't keep poking me. Stop. Give it over. You've had enough now. You've had enough to drink, right? You've had enough to drink. You need to stop. You need to leave it alone. Now, guys, we want the flags. We want the modern day pirate flags flying outside the schools. We want you to be talking about these things, these books that we want to be pushing upon. No. You're not going to have that. No. And in fact, now all you've done is you've made people push back even harder. And boy, are people here for that? They are here for that. I was talking about that earlier on. The High Court has ordered that secondary school teacher Enoch Burke should be jailed for a second time for continuing to turn up at school in defiance of a court injunction ordering him not to. So, like I said, oh my God, guys, the court said this. Geneva Convention. Were you interested in that? Nuremberg? No, doesn't ring a bell. And these people all do this to go, Nuremberg. And you're looking going, like, that Nuremberg Code exists for a very specific reason. And it exists for that reason to not have what happened over the last couple of years. Where these people, by the way, in the media and the government are all trying to walk away from it. They're like, I'm walking away from that grenade there, lads. Good luck to you, there. A case of the Sudanese, is it? Oh, nothing to do with us. Don't ask us any questions. You see, that's how you know that we have a media that's totally and utterly gone. Because if there was anybody that's in there in the media that can actually ask questions, I mean, Ben Scanlon, I'm sure he will ask the question when he sees these people. Are you not concerned about the excess mortality that's gone on here in this country? Are you not seeing the case of the Sudanese? Are you not seeing cancer go into overdrive here? And again, this is the great thing about Grift. Grift have all the stats, they have the data, they have the figures, which I like. And they then put that back towards these people and say, what's the story here? So going on Enoch, full support to Enoch as well too, fair play to them as well. And what's happening now is the Irish government, the judicial system, and the school, in fact, are actually creating a martyr now. And that's bad news. Historically, when you look at things like that here in Ireland, that doesn't work out well for the regime. So there you go. So, like I said, when you're talking about people, I mean, here's the thing. I only had, what did I have? 2 slides ago? 2 old people. Look, 3 slides ago. 2 old people. Stop far-right indoctrination. That is the police of Ireland, and that is the modern-day pirate flag. That is showing political bias, and that is showing bias overall. Where is their Manchester United crest? Where is their Dublin crest? Where is their County Kerry crest? You see what I'm saying? Because if people were looking and going, hang on here now, there's a Dublin crest there hanging around there. What's the story of that? Now, I know that this was pictured, allegedly, speculatively, in Dublin, and people say, well, it is in Dublin. But if this was, say, for example, an office that was in Cork and had a Dublin crest on it, people would be like, what's the story about that? What's going on there? And likewise, when it comes to this, people are saying, why is this here? Why has this been given such prominence? Look at the fact, and this is the gas thing about it, guys, by the way. It's now overtaken what it initially used to be. Just wiping it clean. Look at it. And then this ring here. Now, I don't know what that ring means, lads, but I have a very good idea what it does signify and does, in my humble opinion, symbolize, we shall say. People talk about certain rings. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what that's supposed to be. I don't. But the fact of the matter is this: the Irish police now have this proudly on display, and is that not a political siding? And is that not political bias? You see, that's why people are like hate speech. No, it shouldn't be anywhere near the people here that are in this profession, because when it comes to that, there is are more interested in that sort of nonsense rather than keeping the borders patrolled. And that looks like a snake as well too. An awful lot of people say that as well too. An awful lot of symbols that we see as well, by the way, in the world. A lot of people talk about the symbolism with this as well too, and they draw things on it, and I'm like, oh, now that when you see that, yeah, and snakes and stuff like that, biblical stuff, mate. Right, boys. Honest to God, I saw this I did right, and I said to myself, "There's no way this is real. No chance that this is real." But this did the rounds. This did the rounds on Twitter, and I just said to myself, all I had to look was at here and then here like this. Now I don't know. I don't know whether this is real or not. Okay, but if it is real, holy moly! There's nothing I have to further add here. I just don't have to say anything in relation to that. I think that's enough. I think we're good there. Sometimes I do videos, right? And I do videos and I say to myself, I think the image speaks for itself. And that's why you'll see a short video from me. That was a short video there, Ninja. It didn't say too much. And other ones, I'm just like, I need to talk about this one. I need to give it more context there. That's actually hilarious. But the Green Party are becoming synonymous with this here. And that's no good news for them, because a lot of people are going to remember very soon. And look, it's like this. I say it on Twitter, I do as well, and I'll say it here as well. I don't think gay people should be in positions of prominence. And why do I think that? Listen, I know gay people, and the thing is, they're nice people and stuff like that, but they don't have any sort of progeny. They don't have any sort of, I would say, long-lasting influence that's going to last far into the future in terms of generational progeny. Okay, kids. So I don't think people should be in positions of influence and positions of power when they're at that sort of stuff there, because that's totally counterintuitive. It's totally ridiculous that you're going to promote that sort of stuff, because everybody knows that if you're two blokes that you can't have a child. Okay, even as much as the media want to go on about it and say there's two guys there that were in RT that have had child, that's bogus. That's unnatural in my humble opinion. It is. I don't know why that jumped out now again. That's unnatural in my opinion. I think it's wrong. I also then think that the fact that you're trying to push that says an awful lot. I have to be honest with you, again, pulling in entertainment as well too. I look at Zack Snyder and I look at what he did with Superman, and remember in Superman and that Man of Steel, it's something I ponder about all the time. That's how you know how great a movie that is. Now, some people didn't get what Zack Snyder was doing, but I certainly did, and so did many others. But how is Superman conceived in that universe? He's conceived naturally and he's birthed naturally. What is going on with other Kryptonians? They're actually grown versus being naturally impregnated, and then you have then the course of time it takes then to make sure that the baby comes to full term and then deliver the baby. This is something that movie and that universe hinges on, is the fact that Superman is the first natural birth in Krypton in like a millennia, I think, or centuries anyway, I think it is. So that's a very important point. And I'm like, maybe Snyder was hitting at this sort of stuff over here, because like that then, Zod is the character that was created to be what he is, which is a drone for Krypton. And I'm like, well, there's layers and levels to that stuff there that, I would see personally myself. Other people might not, and they go, I didn't really like those movies. So anyway, I don't think people should be in a position of prominence, especially when they don't have progeny, they don't have any sort. I know people that'll be out there, because the left's argument always is, well, there's people out there that don't have kids and people out there that can't have kids. Understood, point taken. But the thing is there that people, and when I say people, men and women, have natural masculine instincts and natural feminine instincts. That being, men have masculine instincts and women have feminine instincts. And a combination of both is obviously very appreciated, and it is something that's very important. So when you decide then, hey, I'm going to be someone there that's going to go out and spout there how this stuff should be introduced into likes of a curriculum or should be pushed in people's faces, no, I totally disagree. And to be quite honest with you, you've ruined yourselves forevermore, because again, when people look back at this time in history, they look at this sort of stuff and they go, how did everybody even let this get to the stage it did? This is totally ridiculous. And then in 100 or 200 years, then they look back and they go, we're not doing anything like that, because they'll try and push it again. You can only subdue bad things. And when I say bad things, people will misinterpret that. They'll say, you're tiring everyone with the one brush. I'm not. I'm tiring people there that want to push this upon kids. That's very different than the legally consenting adults that's doing it behind closed doors, that's doing whatever they're doing with other legally consenting adults. Whatever they're doing, couldn't care less. But this sort of stuff is the different level, because that's a kid that's there as well too, by the way. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you were doing, to me, it's banging on order. This is absolutely clown world that you're seeing here. And I don't think that in future people are going to look back on this kindly. They're not going to go, well, I'll tell you what, lads, we should put a fella like Roderick there into a prominent position. Do you know what we're going to do, guys? We're going to put another gay person as Minister for Children. That's totally going to work out. That person doesn't have children, doesn't know what it's like to have a child, never will know what it's like to have a child. Oh, but he can do IVF there. That's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. I disagree. So we'll push on to this here. First of all, as I always say, and I mean it sincerely, it is an unimaginable thing to have people that are of a young age pass away, of any age, I would say. It's a devastating thing, and my sincere condolences and sympathies are always with the families of people that are passing away. And when it comes to this sort of stuff as well, too, the suddenlies, especially with a young person, my sincere and total condolences go towards you. Now, I don't know what's going on, but why is there not an inquiry into this? Why is this not headline news? And this is what I mean by this, right? And this is what I'm saying. I talked to people this week that were more concerned about the sniffles making a comeback than this young lady. And now I don't know whether that's a thing of, I don't want to look at that and I don't want to think about that, because I think I know what that's about, allegedly, speculatively. I'm saying, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm saying like fictitiously, a person might be thinking when they look at this. I've seen that happen now a few times. Don't know what the story is there. I certainly look at this and I go, what is going on? What's happening? What's happened here? And I always ask if the family would come out. And I don't know if this is something that families have tried before. I mean, God bless that family that are on the islands that have come out and have asked for an inquest into the passing of their 14-year-old. God bless them, because they're coming out and they are one of the first people. They are the first people, I would say, that have actually made some noise about what's going on. But you're seeing more people that are interested in the sniffles this week than whatever's going on here, whatever's happening here. Because aside from what I personally think and what an awful lot of other people personally think, this is happening far too often, where you're having young people that are having no previous ailments, and someone will say, oh, there's always been young people, and there's always people that have had sudden SADS, we'll just say. Okay, but I would love a compilation, not love, I'll strike that there, I'll retract that. I would appreciate if there was a chart that said how many people year to year have cases of the suddenlies, and that you could be able to go, okay, I know when people say 13% excess, stuff like that, fine. But I want to see how many people in 1 year, in the last year, that are no longer here due to the suddenlies. And then I want to show them that in contrast to the likes of 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, and all the way back, so that people can look and see what's going on. And someone will say, and I agree with you, and you understand, well, they're shoving the country full of people, ninjas, so it would be very difficult then, because when they have the census that say, well, this is actually proportionate to the amount of people that are in here. And that's, in my opinion, why they do that. But I will also say then, when you can also proportionately say then, because this is what they do with the likes of inflation and that, you can also proportionately say, hey, this is actually the number it was then, and this right here now is actually higher than where it should be. You know, people that are really solid at maths there would be able to do that. But a 20-year-old is suddenly, it's just, I don't understand. I don't understand how this isn't the talk of the town for everybody. I don't understand how this is not on everybody's mind. I don't understand how people are more interested in a flu coming back and telling you that they want to get 5 and 6 of these things that didn't work the first and second and third and fourth time, but they don't want to talk about a 20-year-old. And all of these people that have that sort of mind frame of, I don't want to know, all have that sort of thing in common, where they just look at you blankly. You can see the fear in their eyes. The eyes are the gateway to the soul. And you can see in their eyes that you're like, they're afraid. you know who's afraid, and you know the people then that are just going through life, and you're going, oh, they're actually going through life through the motions here, because that person is totally not there at all. And I didn't realize that before now. It's happened. But again, like I said, God love our family. Here's another one as well too. Again, full and sincere condolences to both of these ladies. And I mean, I say that with everybody as well too. I just can't understand how this has happened. There's two people, I think, in the space of a week have suddenly, and it's just not really a talking point about people about things at all. You know, tributes poured in for Irish mum who passed suddenly on holiday. Mary was on a well-deserved break in Turkey when she suddenly fell ill. How are we not, as a country, talking about this? How are we not talking about this? And I mean, this is where, and as a society is about to, because I know the ladies that are in here as well understand this, and you do agree. How is it that we have so many women's groups and women's advocacies and stuff like that? And why are they not talking about this? Why are they not saying, hey, hang on here for a sec? There's two women in the space of a week. They're two young women, two healthy women, and they're no longer with us with the suddenlies. What's going on? Ask the questions. Why is this not being asked? And again, like I said, full and total, complete, sincere sympathies with these families. It's absolutely devastating. There's nothing that can be imagined. Short lives. It's just absolutely unbelievable. It is. And to me, questions need to be very firmly asked. And like I said, I would implore and would ask families respectfully, if these people, if there's anything to be told or anything to be said, you need to talk. You need to say to people, you need to tell people what's going on. Now, these could be totally out there instances that have happened, and this is just an incident that has gone on. But we do need to get to the bottom of what's going on. And are you not asking yourselves then, how come the government and the media were totally interested worldwide about how many people had the flu, but they don't care about this? Like, people I know that had the sniffles, that got over it after having a couple of lemsips and a couple of tangerines. And nobody I know is going, oh yeah, no, that person's no longer with us because of the old flu there. Nothing to do with that. But when it comes to these things, not saying nothing, keeping stum. It's actually appalling. It's shambolic. It is. It's evocative of what's wrong with the place. You got people out there that are just burying their heads in the sand. Let's not talk about this here. It's too difficult. And that's feared, I think, an awful lot of the time. And I think people look at their own mortality in different ways. And listen, I've been looking at Marcus Aurelius and some of the quotes that he's been making over the last couple of weeks. And I've been thinking about him, the Stoics and stuff like that. Been thinking an awful lot about what Marcus Aurelius said. And it makes an awful lot of sense. And this is a man that lived a very long time ago. And a lot of what he says then still rings true today. And you're looking at what he says here. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. And I think that's where we find ourselves right now. We're not in the ranks of the insane. We see that. We see the ranks of that. We see people that are genuinely involved in the ranks of insane. And you see them as they are. You're seeing it as if you were Lord of the Rings characters that are looking at the orcs, the Uruk-hai. You're looking at them and going, they're nuts they are. They're off their rockers they are. I wouldn't cross the street to talk to that person at all. And then you see people that are getting swept into that, and you're looking and you're going like, how have you I thought you were an intelligent person. And you're getting swept into this stuff here. But this is the thing. This is how comfortable you are in your own skin. And this is why the words of Marcus Aurelius are very important, because he is letting you know it is important to think about things. It is important to say, okay, the majority of people here in this room don't agree with me, but guess what? There might be one person over there that does, and that person gets what's going on. I've had lots of those conversations, by the way, where I would throw something out, and I can see then in the room who agrees and who disagrees, and then I get talking to the person who agrees, and I'm like, oh, that person, and then they open up and they're like, yeah, it was all nonsense, wasn't it? And I'm like, great, there's another person that I can talk to now. Awesome. And these people that are over there now that are engaging in stuff that they have no clue about what's going on, I'm telling you, I'm totally afraid the sniffle's coming back. They're in the ranks. They're in that other rank, lads. So anyway, we'll keep moving on here now. I'll try and wrap up soon enough, because I know I'm going past the 2-hour mark now. Now these things as well get to the point where they're like, guys, you got to move. So anyway, this is the gripped effect. I think it's been affectionately known on social media. Roderick O'Gorman threw his eyes up before he started talking about trans children to Ben Scallon. And I was like, To be honest with you, I looked at the video I did and he was shouting at the phone. I was like, Ben, ask him about trans kids. Why is he saying trans kids? Why didn't, like, what's he talking about? You can't have alcohol before the age of 18. And this guy is talking about kids that can make irreparable decisions, life changing, altering decisions, permanent decisions. He's talking about it as if it's nothing. I'm sure Ben will sooner rather than later. So you've got him, you've got Micheál Martin there in the back there, you've got Leo Varadkar as well too. Oh no, guys, it's Ben Scanlon asking questions there. Not happy. So this is what a journalist in this country, one guy, this is one dude who's now been followed by Elon Musk, which is great. This is what he's doing. He's causing politicians to have physical reactions to the guy asking questions. This thing's at that jumping now as well too. Good on you there now tonight. Now it's gone well. It's entered into clown world territory. So we've got Ben Scanlon that's doing that, and he's doing a great job. You might have Twitter anymore, you can't. It's nonsense. Doesn't do the live stream as well at all. Hang on, I'll try and jump out of this now. We'll see if this is any sort of effect. Am I still here? 1 2 1 2. Is the mic still working? Oh, I can see it, yeah. It's good. All right, we're back. I don't know why that's jumping now. I don't know what the gig is with that. We'll try and scroll through a couple of these things quite quickly so that we're not jumping in and out. Maybe it's the fact that I'm jumping in and out. Like I said, old hardware that we're running. So you've got Stephen Matthews here, great for nipping down to the shops, dropping kids to school, driving the gym, and so easy to park. Seriously, what's missing that makes someone want to drive something like this? These types of vehicles should be highly taxed by size weight, called the stupid vehicle tax. That's another Green Party member saying stupid things, lads. Told you there'd be a night there now where they'll be talking about Green Party saying stupid things. Code Institute over here, are you thinking about a career change to software develop in Ireland? I didn't know Irish people looked like that. I didn't know that Ireland became an African colony. Did you know that? I certainly didn't. That's a very new phenomenon. And it's a phenomenon that you're starting to see as well across the world. You're like, oh, they're starting to promote people that don't look like the actual people that are from there. Bingo. Bingo. This thing now is deciding to freeze on me. Here it is. Great. This is awesome. It's great when it does that. It's probably because the chat on the other side of the chat after being an hour born out at the stage of the game. Hang on there 1 second. I just want to have a look at this here. Yeah, this thing is just pausing in here now with this. Just give me a second there, guys. We're wrapping up this one soon anyway. You can see a couple of people talking away there in the chat. Someone's up with a couple of individuals. It's good to see us all here as well, by the way. Big shout out to the chat. The chat's awesome as always. There's no messing. And like I said, I'd seen a couple of people in earlier on. I don't know what was being said or anything like that. Derek McManus will fill me in later on. But seeing a couple of people in earlier on and seeing the chat was rousing them and just laughing at them. And like I said, it's always appreciated. So what you're seeing here anyway, from what we can see, this is your woman there, Jennifer Carroll, is it that one? Isn't it? Jennifer Carroll McNeil. Pronouns in the bio there as well too. She, her. I suppose you would need to tell people, you know what I mean? Because people are looking at the mush and they're like, you know, not sure here what's going on here. You've got this picture here, by the way. This is another one. Here we go now. This cab thing's at the jumping again. Great. It's great that they jump into this now when you're not looking for it. Give her a sec there, guys. Oh, messing about with me here is Gab. Gab, you're breaking my heart this evening. I'm going to give you a good shout out here earlier on, and now it's messing about. I don't know why it's doing that. That's still the same thing again. It's totally frozen up. Anyway, listen. We've had a good run here tonight. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the chat here once Gab starts itself out. Let's see now what's going on. So Philly D says, running bear, it's just pure honesty, something he knows nothing about. At least we were still Irish by the time the Brits left. Refusing chances, he's an MI5 plant. I suppose that's about Joe Harris, not me. Definitely, yeah. People are talking about being climate friendly. It's great there that you're thinking about the climate there, guys. That's always appreciated. You know yourself. Works really well. So that's at the jumping out again. That's great. I wonder what's going on with Gab. Maybe Gab's gone through an update there tonight. I don't know what's happening. This should pick up now in a second. You should see what's happening. It's totally slowed down. I don't know what the gig is with that. Definitely need a new processor, I'd say. Processor is all over the joint, I'd say. Let's keep going. There's a couple of little things that I just wanted to show. I can see it there now. It's just starting to pull itself back. In fairness to the techies that are here, they're like, oh, you need to do this with this ninja. And I'm like, yeah, great. That's fantastic. Okay, so anyway, I was talking about Marcus Aurelius, talking about these two Egypts there. And then you've got this one here as well. So, do you know what I'll finish off with? I'll finish off with this a bit before I jump into anything else in case it goes a little bit bogey. Councillor Dan Boyle. So, this is going to be a video I'm going to do very soon, by the way. This is another Green Party individual. A 12-year-old. This is a fella who just tweeted this out, by the way. Now, if you're someone that votes for this guy, what are you thinking? If you know someone that's voted for this guy, ask them what they're thinking. A 12-year-old is a young adult, one who needs to learn of adult life, which includes information on nature of life to know as and when they are fully and legally adult. Are you talking about what I think you're talking about? Paratol Beans in here says a 12-year-old is a child, Dan. Adult content is not suitable for a child of 12. There should be no confusion on this. So, logically, you would think that he would be like, oh, no, I didn't mean that at all. Oh, no, he doubled down. The confusion is being caused by you and your supporters, Patter. The idea that young people need to be educationally shielded from the ways of this world until they are 18 years of age is dangerously misguided. Okay, now you have just confirmed what people were actually thinking. And that's not good. That's not good at all. And this is the type of person that you have as a politician. Now, in any sort of real country, this guy would have been on the way the following morning. They would have been like, this guy is no longer a member of the Green Party. This is what I'm saying to you. Eamon Ryan is overseeing a circus, and he's part of it. He is ringleader and complete jester to the Green Party. I mean, anybody that looks at that guy and goes, that's why he's leader of that party there, because you can have clown world stuff like this go on all of the time. There's nothing further I can add towards that, because I think you can read into those comments as you will yourself and give your own opinion and think what you think about that. But that's absolutely outrageous, it is. The face of McEntee here, there, you know. That's when Ben Scannon's asking the question. I think Queeveen put that out there on Twitter. So I'll jump into the chat now, we will. And there's Dan Boyle. Now, I don't know about you. You know. I mean, Is that a dude? I'm pretty sure that that's a dude. I don't know. There's, lefty women as well too. I mean, a lot of them look like that anyway. They do, regardless. But look, But there's Dan. So this is the guy that's making comments like this. Right? A 12-year-old is a young adult. One who needs to learn of adult life, which includes information on nature of life to know as and when they are fully and legally adult. This is absurd. It's actually absurd that this is happening. And the fact that we're even talking about this here, it's absurd. Look at this guy. I'm not even going to add further comments. That's it. That picture says it all. Look at that. I don't even need to add further comments. I really don't. I know people that are here are like, you don't need to say nothing there, Ninja. We already have our own opinions there now. You can see the love hearts being in the chat. They're like, oh yeah, the story is there. So anyway, that's what I wanted to finish off on tonight. I wanted to show you that and I'd say to you, bad guys that are running the ship, guys, and we need to start talking about it and need to start telling people there's a video coming on that one soon. I hope to have it out maybe Monday, probably on that one. Potentially, maybe even tomorrow. I know I dropped a video late last night as well too. That was to make sure that I had one for today as well. So you're going to see videos coming now, a lot more in the next couple of days and in the next couple of weeks, because I need to get back on the video march and let people know what's going on. because I thought it was really good how we done very well. And I say we because this is a community and people here that are understanding what's going on. You know, you're part of the community and you understand what's happening. I mean, the video yesterday is at 1.1k views, which is absolutely awesome. Previous videos have been doing really well as well, which I'm very proud of and I'm very happy. And I think everyone is on the fence when it comes to the world. It is 100% a platform that is totally and utterly up for all this sort of stuff, all this sort of nonsense that is. So it doesn't want you to be shared and sharing stuff like this. And it certainly doesn't want you to be talking about stuff like this because, like I said before, when I'm seeing my viewership be as high as it is, and I'm delighted with that, and still I'm on the march to 6,000 still, which is great. But you're seeing other people with smaller viewership and they're at 14,000, and you're like, there's definitely messing going on here. So I'll jump into the chat and I'll say hello now before we jump off because, again, I'm keenly aware of time and I don't want to be going too long over here or anything like that. Let's see what's been said here. Derek Mass is coming into the cold weather. I would advise people not to eat yellow snow. It's always wise words there, Derek. If not, Muraku sends in a super sticker. Emma Barrett sends in a thanks, and Erla O'Connor sends in like, share, and subscribe. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Appreciate that, I do. So let's jump into the chat now because that's the news portion of it at the moment. And like I said, I'll cover a couple of these things in video, so I'm not repeating myself or anything like that. And I do want to condense this show as well too. I do want to keep it under the 3 hour mark as well. Make sure that people are interested as well. To refusing Sean is talking about Larry Fink. Yeah, that's one of the and what is he saying? He's talking. He's talking and he's saying things that are lightning quick. I don't know how Derek was shouting out Liza Pants there. I can't say anything there. I thought Spuds is welcome back. Yeah, no, I did that chat earlier on. I didn't see Liza Pants at all. Anyway, we keep going. I'll catch the comment. I will eventually, I'm sure. Big shout out to the 3POA podcast, by the way. They talk about action figures. They talk about companies as well too, taking advantage of people, particularly Hasbro. And I love the fact that they're doing that. I think they're doing an awesome job at it as well too. And they're creating noise. Do you know what as well too? And I'll just say this. There was a guy out there that's been making very untoward comments towards the 3POA podcast for a while. And I was like, in my opinion, the 3POA podcast is headed by 3 lads, the 3 good guys, the 3 nice guys. And I've talked to one of the 3. And that's Laser Pants, and he's a lovely chap. He is, nice fella. And I'm saying, like, this guy coming in here and he's getting jealous about them. And I'm like, he keeps calling them Trump supporters. Now, I don't know what person or politics or anything like that any of the 3POA follow. I don't know. I have no idea. They've never said anything to me about that. And I've no, like, real interest or anything like that at all. You know, I post my things. I'm sure they look at it and they go, you know, do your own thing there, buddy. There he is there. Did someone say Valaverse? Laser Pants is in here anyway. And this guy was talking at them. And then I was just like, do you know what? A little bit of internet snooping here. And within about 10 minutes, I found out that the guy that was costing them and that has been saying things about them, according to Reddit, this fella used to sell Hunter Biden. You know what I'm talking about? Used to Krakola. Allegedly, spectively on that, and I'm like, this is definitely going to warrant potentially a video on that one. So we'll see what happens there. But I did the Joint Man video, and the lads gave me good feedback. Well, I should say, Laser Pants gave me good feedback, so I appreciate that. I do. Michael Brazil says, as a woman, I approve this message. Sarah Clifford says, educate together skills are cesspits of degeneracy. Refusing Sean says, funny how the Green Party are pushing this material in schools when they should be worrying about actual green issues. Laser Pants says, you look like Shrek. I'm glad that you're catching on to these ones here as well. I'm glad. Do you know, I'd be interested to know whether you understood anything that was been said in this here. Dennis Carney's in here as well, and he says, Ninja Knight, low testosterone levels in men and the big gay push is the problem Gen X gay men have here. We find it horrific, the indoctrination and what's going on with the kids is astonishing. Absolutely, totally agree with you there, Dennis. Absolutely agree with you there, man. Let's keep going. Ferg is in here, says Ninja Knight, once I get out next Wednesday out of the way, I'm calling for a major protest at Wilson's Hospital School. And I mean big, they were going mad when there was 2030 before Christmas. Watch this space, bro. Jerome Reedy says, Ninja Knight, be careful, Paddy Plaster is watching you. Yeah, that's the deal I was telling you about earlier on. Absolutely hilarious. Made up a totally different name here on YouTube to go and make comments on the videos. I'm like, once he made one comment, I'm like, I know who you are. I know you're that dude from across there on Twitter. People having a good laugh in the chat there now as well. I really enjoyed. Rockus is in here. It says, Ninja Knight, I hope the main nationalistic parties are talking and plan on amalgamating. They need to work together and vote. Shouldn't be split. Agreed on that one. Definitely need to be looking at areas for sure. Saladin says, how are you, Ninja? And all blocked by another TD on Twitter. That's a badge to be taken real pride in nowadays, I'd say. Mick O'Keefe says, Ninja Knight, keep up the good work, bro. Thanks very much, man. You too. You're doing stellar work over there on Twitter. What a movement you're creating over there. Mick and Toby, I would say, and now correct me if I'm wrong, have been instrumental in the likes of Ireland for the Irish and many of the tweets that have gone viral, like Resign Helen as well too. And I have to give the lads credit on that. That's awesome because they're bringing that information to people, and I love that. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. A couple of people saying they'll be tuning into the 3 POA there on Saturday. I don't know if the lads are on this weekend. I think it might be next weekend. They usually do it every second weekend. So, yeah, I always tune into the shows as well too. They're great shows. Did I have like 500 people to do in there? It's great. The chat does be on fire, it does. Laser Pants is great American accent. I could probably do a better one if I tried. I could probably do a better one if I tried there. Let's keep going. And we'll see what's been said here. Tricky Woo says, Ninja Knight says hello. Good to see you. And here. Stephen Shawdenshire says, the ism towards James McLean wasn't never published. Yeah, I think it's shocking what went on with him. But like I said, like that sort of abuse that went on over there in England, but towards professional footballers that are Irish, it always happened, it did. But see, the difference between us and anybody else was, hey, you just get on with it. You know, that's how Irish people go. It's like when I'm on Twitter, obviously I have the Irish flag. And people will be like, yeah, potato man. And you're like, or is that all you have? Have you got a better insult? Because my previous generations, they all survived. So that's not an insult. You know what I mean? And anyway, everybody knows there, by the way you're taught that was completely different as to what happens. They just didn't have potatoes. It was far more than that. The British Empire are culpable for an awful lot of misery and history that have happened here in this country. Fergus Power says, Ninja Knight, this isn't jobs for the boys in politics or MSM. This is generational family bloodlines that go back. God not only knows how long, brother. What a time to be alive. Stay a positive people. Absolutely 100% agree with you there. Absolutely 100%. Full on. Leanne Cortis says, Finglas tomorrow at 3 p.m. Great. Things is litty at the moment. We're doing good here. Karen Morrison's Fergus Power, you're right, we'll win. Absolutely. People talking about Graham Linehan, I can see there in the chat already. Morning Star says, yes, Graham Linehan. He has YouTube channels talking about events, let women speak. Graham Linehan, for anyone that's unknown to who he is the guy who wrote Father Ted and the guy who wrote the IT Crowd. So this is a fella that's been cancelled, he has over the years, because he's been like, no, a fella that dresses up as a woman isn't a woman. You know, a doubtfire isn't a doubtfire. You know what I mean? And it's simple like that. And then you've got people that are attacking them. They really dislike authors that have different opinions to them. There's no wonder people in Hollywood and all of these people that are in the entertainment industry just bow to it because they're like, oh, they couldn't sustain a couple of people on Twitter disagreeing with them and calling them names. That's where we were. And I mean, look, you just have to look at this here, guys, and you have to say to yourself, why are these people continuing the way they are? And you're going, well, it's because they've been told to. That's why. Let's keep moving on through the chat and see what's happening here. Jerry, so the mix in there is Paul O'Neill's in here this evening. Kevin Hagan says, what about Roshi and Murphy and the BBC? Let's suppose someone else is telling that about something else. Jason O'Shred says, Ninja Knight, hey Ninja, this is the only late show I'll be tuning into tonight. Much appreciated. I've seen an uptick of people, by the way, this evening, which is good. So people aren't tuning into late, they're tuning in here. So I appreciate that. Late show is an absolute joke. And there's Piers Morgan as well, too, hanging around Ryan Tubridy. I'm like, lads, It couldn't be making any more obvious. Piers Morgan was on the wrong side of history there as well. You know what I mean? PST says you had comments deleted in yesterday's. Was it your ones? You know, I never delete comments. You know, I always leave them up, especially when you have agents that come in as well too. That's how you know I don't delete comments, because you have fills that come in and they make silly comments, and I'm like, I'll leave that up there so the people can see it. Keep going here now as well too. We've got, I think we have another one here. We've got Putties is in here now making comments. I'd say that's probably another one. That's probably another one of old, what's his name? Skim the Wall on Twitter. That's where it was. I was like, Skim the Wall, come on and do a live Twitter space. And nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. Michael Brazil says there's always going to be a certain percentage of people who like to taste their flavored windows. I can even, do you know what the thing is? When Michael Brazil writes something, I'm like, I can actually hear his voice when he says that, and the delivery. The man has brilliant time and he does brilliant comedic delivery. Very dry sense of humor. I absolutely love it. Point Man says a teacher is banned for teaching for 15 years. I saw that today, by the way, Point Man. I did see that. I did. And for Snapchatting kids in his class, but he's not in jail, and Enoch Burke is. You're 100% on the money there, Point Man. Absolutely 100% on the money. I saw that article today. I couldn't believe it. I was like, surely they're going to say the dude's in jail. And they were like, nah, he just said don't strike him off the register. And I was like, and what happened? And they were like, he's banned for 15 years. I was like, what? The fella's not in jail. Incredible. But that's how you know how upside down and topsy-turvy the world is right now, and that dude is walking around and there's nothing going on. But, you know, Borg, on the other hand, jail for asking questions. We've got Johnny Boyce to Stadium late, have to play catch-up. I think we're moving on pretty quickly here, which is good. Let's keep moving on. Dan's mixtape is in here as well too. Good to see you here, man. Always good to see you. Point Man as well. I'll be sending the memes. A lot of people shouting out Dan's mixtape in the chat. Keep everybody every week. There seems to be the big lads are in here. Like, you know what I mean? You've got Satirical Soldier, you've got Ferg, you've got Dan's mixtape, you've got the Irish Inquiry. Sometimes I think they pop in, they do as well too. You've got the Irish Git as well too. Like, it's everyone's here. Everyone's here. It's great. Must do a stream with all these lads sometime on YouTube. I think that'd be great. I don't know what people think. Would you be interested in that? I think everybody would. I think that's an answer. I already know. I think that's a rhetorical question. A lot of people do the streams as well too, like I said, and that's why I love what Toby's doing over on Twitter. I love the fact that he is doing the lives over there. So I don't really want to take away from that as well, especially when he's gathering people together. You know what I mean? I think it's great. So that's why I haven't done anything like that yet, or I've made any sort of inkling towards that. I would actually say go and follow Toby over on Twitter there. He does brilliant spaces. He's a great host as well too, with Chopper that's in here earlier on, Mick O'Keefe. Absolutely brilliant there. So yeah, I suppose probably be a good idea to do on YouTube as well. Toby should definitely start the YouTube channel, and so should Chopper. The more people on YouTube here, the better is what I'd say. Annie W says we are managed like cattle. Yep, absolutely. Annie Boy says beef gives men testosterone and keeps your body and mind strong. They can't control strong men. They will jam men just for being strong on body and mind. That includes, the people there that are in Sinn Féin now. Like, I don't know what's happening here now. Like, they've had a total inversion. Really weird to see people that would have been like, oh, singing the Wolftown songs. And that frightens the media too, by the way. Did you notice that? They were frightened about something like 50,000 people? Maybe less. That were singing Wolftown songs. They're like, I can't believe these people are singing rebel songs. I can. And you sound scared. Marty Shannon's in here, says True Bloods. Good to see you here, man. Craig Power says, Ninja Knight Viagra's voice makes my teeth itch. It's absolute torture. In fairness, your impression is that business, brother. Much appreciated. It creeps me out as well too that I may have to do that as well. I'll be back is the most quotable line from the Terminator. It is, but I wasn't doing Schwarzenegger at the time. I was doing a bit of Sarah Connor, because that's who Leo Varadkar felt more in tune with. And I was like, oh, you feel more in tune with Sarah Connor, you do. Not Kyle Reese, Kyle Reese, who was pivotal. And they forget about Kyle Reese then, Important character in that movie, but let's not worry about Kyle Reese and what he did, and that he's an influential part of what happens and how he saves the world. Don't worry about Kyle Reese. No. Sarah Connor is a great character and very well written, though. That was when good characters were written. Not now. Not now. Trad Cat Dub says, remember the media blackout after Tubbs in the hotel suite when the Connor fella was with some girl? Media blackout because they and other celebs were doing things. Again, allegedly, spectively on that one there. That's an allegation that's been made. Marty Shannon says there's no country anymore. For God's sake, they remove God, allow people to, yeah, absolutely. Then give away the country to the EU. Not much left. Absolutely, for sure. Totally agree with you on that one, yeah. Totally messing about the art. Look, we've no borders. When you've no borders, you've no country. Simple as that. And that's something that was said there recently by the actor Jim Caviezel. I mean, you don't have any borders, you don't have a country. I agree. Right, just check out the rest of the chat here now, see what's going on. People are fans of the Greens. It's always a good thing. I don't know anybody. I still don't. And I've been asking for the last couple of years. I'm like, did you vote for the Green Party? And every time it's a no. Every time it's a no. That's the Institute of Strategic Dialogue Michael Brazil was talking about earlier on ISD, Global, Aoife, Gallagher and Co were on to me for comment over a report coming out on a mis- and disinformation ecosystem in Ireland. Hilarious. I wonder what you said. Hit me up later on and tell me what you said. And tonight, over a video I made in July 2022 regarding global temperatures with the hashtag climate scam, my reply to them was cheers for the free publicity, hashtag climate scam. What a legend. You see, this is the thing. We're starting to work out, and we've worked it out, by the way. When you have a laugh at these people and you use them to that degree, you're like, boom, happy days. And that is it. It's all promotion as well, too, from this side of the fence. And we are very much so enjoying it. You know what I mean? There's nothing that gets me more in in a good humor than like that fella there that's on Twitter that made up an account to come over here. I love that. I love the fact that I've done that. You know what I mean? If you haven't any enemies, you're not doing anything worth being. That's that quote there. I'm trying to think of it there. If you don't have you made any enemies, you haven't made any real progress. Stirga Soldier says your man on the right is an XTD. Yeah, you say you put that one up there. You did Stirga, you need to do a video on stuff like that, man. Seriously, you've been slacking. You've been slacking lately on the videos. I want to see more from you. And I mean, I know it's difficult as well too because I know Stirga says what he likes. He does in Telegram. It's very difficult to be saying things as you mean them on this platform, as you as well now, lads. Stirga Soldier says best place to be on a Friday night. Paul Fitzgerald says, is there a petition to free Enoch Burke? Where could I sign? That's actually a good shout. Very good shout, that is. And of course, says asking tonight to add you as a mod again, Ferg's Power. Was Ferg not added as a mod? That's very strange. Hang on. Let's see if we can do it now. Whilst I'm here. No, he's modded. He's good. I got him. No one's flower says thanks for your Telegram channel, Satirical Soldier. I've had no end of good laughs. I love it. Satirical Soldier getting a lot of very positive feedback there from the people, which I love to see. Frank's Power says, Derek Mass, my wife just said, how apt you have a spanner beside your name. Shocking. Enjoy that thing's pronouns are fee, fi, fo, fum. I'll have to try the mod thing again. And thank you, brother. I just think it's important. I think, have we wrenched? See, Satirical Soldier came in here like you weren't on time, Satirical, so I wasn't able to give you the wrench there either. Let's see where you are now if I can find you and be able to put you in there. Satirical Soldier's been here a long time, and I'm like, how has he not got a wrench? Do you know what I mean? It's not even. I can't. Can I scroll back that far? No, I can't. Hang on. Let's see if it works here like this. Can I do it in StreamYards? I wonder. People are looking at this now and going, Touch said it wasn't going to go to 3 hours, Ninja. No, I can't. I have to put it on. I will another day. Stergo Soldier, make sure you turn up on time next time, alright? That's an order. Keep going. Eric Man says 11 allegedly speculatively tonight. That's not bad. I think I'm down from about 25 probably. You're down from 25? Someone kept count, I think, in the last show, and I was like, wow. We've got Michael O'Dwyer says, Ninja, you have A judge in Dublin who was issuing bench warrants for people who haven't a TV license who don't turn up to his court. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Oh, you haven't got a license for the TV. Okay, well, you have a woman on RTE there that's actually telling you that she didn't pay for the TV license, and she said that you told lies over the last couple of years. So what do you think is about that, lads? You tried to push her on as far as you could. Yes, he says, Ninja, go back to where you were standing. It's just Dark Man says, I can hear you, Ninja. Yeah, people are saying there as well too that there was an issue with this thing here this tonight. No. People saying there's an issue with the thing at 10:15, 10:16. Have a look at that, see what went on. Need to see what went on there. I'm back. I'm good. Okay, so yeah, the chat anyway. The chat are having a good time. I'm saying thanks very much for tonight. All right, guys, I'm gonna call that an evening out. Thanks very much appreciated for you. Okay, look after yourselves. Have a blessed weekend. Stay safe. Remember when people were saying that? Absolute nonsense. Anyway, look after yourselves. God bless. Talk to you soon. Look.